It's been a season of firsts for the Knightdale football program. The first ever conference championship, the first ever home playoff game, and tonight a date with perennial power for the first time ever, Durham Hillside High School. Tonight from Knightdale, North Carolina, their journey to Carter Finley Stadium begins as 9-2 Hillside visits 10-1 Knightdale in the 4A playoffs. Chris Edwards, Joe Simmons from Knightdale High School, it's great to have you with us. And Joe, when we survey the landscape of this game, playmakers all over the place, and we'll start with Hillside. But the Hornets have not been tested since the middle part of the year. Yeah, they started the season off, Chris, with some very tough competition. And as the season progressed, they got into conference play, and it got really easy. So it'll be interesting to see how they handle a tough opponent tonight. And for Knightdale, virgin territory for the Knights. They've never reached round 2 of the state playoffs. Big time. They have a chance to make history, and I know it's very important for the people in this program and the community that they get off to a good start. I know these kids are fired up and excited to be a part of something. Well, let's look now at our stars to watch, and we'll begin with Durham Hillside, and it starts in the backfield with Dante Thomas-Williams, who's rushed for over 2,000 yards this year. Dante Thomas-Williams is a dynamic running back at 6 feet 225. He's a powerhouse. He runs through people. He excels well, and he's everything you want to watch and everything you want to see in the back. And for Knightdale, it's Quay Johnson, the spark plug to this Knightdale offense. Yeah, Johnson, Marquavius, he does everything as well. He's one of those guys. He plays quarterback. He plays running back. He'll return kicks. He's one half of the Johnson & Johnson brothers, and he does his thing. Well, that's the scene set here from Knightdale High School. Joe and I return tonight stadium for the second-round playoff game. When you come back, it's Knightdale and it's Hillside, and it's next on Time Warner Cable Sports Channel. Back inside Knightdale High School as we get set for Knightdale and Hillside in round 2 of the 4A state playoffs. The Knights coming into the stadium through the crowd. And Joe, when you look at this matchup tonight, all kinds of storylines. We mentioned a couple of playmakers in the open, but you could have talked about any number of playmakers here tonight. This is one of those games that you get maybe in the third round or a regional final. We've got it here in round 2 tonight. Yeah, when we were looking at how the pairings went out in this region, I immediately noticed that this could be a possible collision, and what a contrast it could be when you got two teams who probably wouldn't normally see each other until much later in the playoffs, meeting each other early because of the way they've rezoned it. And I love the fact that we're getting games like this so early in the playoffs because we're getting two very high caliber, high potent teams who can score a lot of points and pose big hits on defense as well. The first ever meeting between Knightdale and Hillside. We mentioned in the open, though, Hillside really hadn't been tested. They breezed through that Pac-6 conference. Knightdale was tested late in the year with Garner and then again with East Wake to conclude the regular season. Is that an advantage for Knightdale? In a lot of ways, I think it is. They've played some games that are pretty meaningful games for them right away. Hillside didn't really get a first meaningful test until last week when they got a dose in the playoffs. So it'll be interesting to see how Hillside responds and how they react to the hostility in this Knightdale crowd. It'll be a packed house for Knightdale, the first ever time the Knights have hosted a second-round playoff game. We mentioned it in the open, a whole lot of firsts for this Knightdale program, Joe. It is. It's a team that's come a long way, and they're building something special, and they're being led by some really special players who the people have grown attached to, and you can just see it. The people here are elated and happy to have football meaning something at this time of the year in Knightdale. Well, let's check in with the third member of our crew, Marilyn Payne, roaming the sideline for us tonight. We'll head down to the field now and say good evening, Marilyn.
Good evening, guys. And as you were both mentioning, there are a lot of new things here at Knightdale in this game. A new meeting with a new opponent. It's the first time they've hosted one of these playoff games. But one of the things that you didn't mention is Knightdale's winning streak. They're on an 8-game winning streak, so they're certainly not playing like this record and like this conference title is anything new. We'll see tonight just how Hillside, is tested with that winning streak and this confident team on their home field. Back to you guys up in the booth.
All right, Marilyn, thanks. The Hornets riding a pretty big winning streak of their own. They come in having won 7 straight contests, so a battle of winning streaks, if you will. Robert Cincinnati, the head coach of Knightdale in his 4th season, 24-19, guiding the Knight ship. He's turned this program around, was just 1-10 when he arrived on the scene here at Knightdale. But As we survey this matchup tonight, all the pundits and prognosticators have had their words, and the foul has been spewed, but we're off and running from Knightdale High School as the opening kick skirts out of bounds, and Hillside will have really good field position. Already you can start to see some strategy, Joe. Both of these teams going to kick it away from their deep men who have all kinds of speed on both sides.
Yeah, I think both coaches have already conceded that they're willing to give up field position in exchange for the possibility of having a touchdown return by two great playmakers on both sides.
Antonio King, you see a look at him through that Hillside huddle in his 5th year as the head coach of Hillside. 8th year overall at the school, 53-11 is his career mark while at Hillside. He was the quarterback for the Hornets, went on to play quarterback at Howard, then finished up at your alma mater, Joe, North Carolina Central. Won a state championship in 2010 with this Hillside club. Had a pretty good quarterback that year, Vad Lee, who's now at Georgia Tech. But his offense goes to work from the 40-yard line with trips to the bottom portion of your screen. And Nas Forte Ferguson is the quarterback, the 6'2 junior, back to pass for the first time today. Looking deep ball near side, ball is overthrown. Was trying to hit one of the receivers on the outside, Ray Green, but it fell incomplete. And second down coming up for the Hillside. Green with his 4 catches and 104 yards this year. Already Hillside trying to shift the focus away from Trayvon Thompson on the outside, their playmaking wide receiver.
Yeah, smart play, coming out a little trips tight, trying to exploit the defense, stretch it out a little bit, making room for and making those safeties back up a little bit so that they can get that running game started.
Hillside averages 466 yards of total offense so far this year per game. They're going from the pistol this time as they send Miles Kelly in motion. Handoff to Dante Thomas Williams, and he gets to the line of scrimmage, maybe a half yard for the running back who's carried the rock 180 times for 2,004 yards and 18 rushing scores.
Awesome running back. I mentioned 6'2", 225, big running back, physical back, but he has the ability to separate as well, and that's one of the things that makes him special.
Yeah, rushed for 254 yards against Clayton in round 1 last week, but already 3rd down and long coming up for Hillside. Just over a half minute into this football game, first possession of the game. Talking with Coach Keene this week, he said that Hillside feels very fortunate to be in this position here, playing in round 2, had to escape Clayton 36-30 last week. They'll throw on 3rd down. Ball is bobbled and caught on the outside. It's Miles Kelly who hauls it in, gets into Knightdale territory, and a first down as Kelly makes his 10th grab of the year.
Yeah, nice big-time throw right there. Quarterback did a good job of leading him to the backside and throwing the back shoulder fade. We're seeing a lot of that lately. Here you see the quarterback steps back. He points and plants. He throws a little bit back shoulder. Pretty good coverage by Knightdale, but a better throw by the quarterback and a good job of looking it in.
So a first down for Hillside as they convert on 3rd and long. There you see Coach King, arms folded as he looks over his offense. Handoff up the middle. It's Thomas Williams again, and he'll rumble down for 5 or 6, maybe 7 yards. That offensive line moving the power forward. 2 all-conference players from a year ago return on that Hillside offensive line, and it is dominated, Joe, by juniors, an offensive line that's going to be back for a whole nother year. That's scary for those folks in the Pac-6.
Yeah, for the most part, they're pretty young as a team as well. It's a pretty young team, and they've done a lot with what they have.
They returned 16 starters from last year's squad that won the conference. They'll pass again for Thompson, this time on the outside. Ball is overthrown. Thompson wanting some contact, maybe a flag, no flag given, as Jamie Brown, the junior, providing coverage. And you see Travion Thompson, their 6'3", 185 wide receiver, going to the Shrine Bowl to play this year. He's the team's leading receiver with almost 1,000 yards. They will visit Ohio State tomorrow.
Wow.
From the pistol again. Thomas Williams hurdling one man, a flag coming in from the referee. Most likely will be a holding call, you would assume, on Hillside, as it's going to be close to a first down, but we'll wait and see what the flag is all about.
Yeah, good job by the running back, though, of keeping his leg drive and pushing forward and trying to push the Powell. I think is a good chance that there might have been a face mask on the play on this, Chris, as the running back was running. It looked like his head came sideways as he approached the hole.
Yeah, it is a 5-yard face mask, as you see Travis Cooper, our referee, and here's the face mask.
Yeah, here the running back's inside, and that's the little snatch right there where you see his face go a little sideways. For a big back, you never see a big back turn his shoulders like that unless he's getting pulled by the face mask. But look at the leg drive. Look at those big guys up front, man. Those are some big men on the field, Hillside up front.
All listed at 255 or better. Most of them right around the 300 mark. So Hillside continues their drive deep into Knightdale territory from just over the 25-yard line. Handoff was bobbled a little bit, but Thomas Williams breaking one to the outside, shedding tackles, and he will tiptoe out of bounds after achieving the first down. So it's been a steady diet here of Dante Thomas Williams on the opening drive?
Well, we know they like to run the ball. They keep it simple. They line up in a different formation, a lot of different formations to get you set up. But here you see the inside handoff, nothing inside, little quick bounce. He takes it to the edge, and because the tackle and tight end do a good job of getting a push on their side, he's able to get that edge and get positive yards on the play.
Devin Lassane ran him out of bounds. Interesting story on Lassane. He actually sang the national anthem prior to the game today. Thomas Williams up the middle again. Another flag coming in. Not a whole lot of running room there, maybe a yard, but it was thrown in the area of, could be a face mask, could be a hold. Again, could be any number of things.
Yeah, this one's probably a hold.
It is. And that'll back the Hornets up 10 yards. You know, we were talking with Coach King, Joe, before the game today, and we were talking about Nass Forte Ferguson, their quarterback. His first year as a starting quarterback, completion percentage right around 50-51%. And he was saying, hey, we want him to be right around 59-60. How big of a gap is that from 51 to maybe 58-59?
That's a lot. That's a few more completions and clutch downs. And what it does is when you're throwing at a ball about a 60% clip, usually your incompletions are going to come from passes down the field. Here you take a look at the hold right there on the inside, and a good job by the official of picking that up. The umpires do a good job of seeing that. That's who he's usually watching the center and both guards. But as you were mentioning, he's done a good job of completing passes, throwing pretty good interception to touchdown ratio, but he's a little safe, and that's something you get out of first-year players.
He'll throw here on first and long, little pop pass over the middle, too tall. Was looking for the 6'3" Thompson. He wanted to flag, and did he get one? Yeah, there's one right back at the line of scrimmage in that area of maybe a hold again. And it is going to be another holding foul on the Hornets as you see Marcel Johnson, the outside linebacker, and Hillside, Joe, after putting together a pretty promising drive, shooting themselves in the foot here.
Yeah, right now I think the speed of Knightdale and the interior and the push they've been getting maybe getting to some of these big guys a little bit, and a little excited early in the game. I think the tackles and the guards are both going to have their hands full with the speed of that Knightdale defensive line.
And here's the call from Travis Cooper, our referee. Signals holding on Hillside. We'll get a look at the replay.
There you see it on the outside. Looks like it's the tackle that one little line stunt grabs and holds on. The quarterbacks, that's what we're talking about between a 51 and 60% passer. That's a pass that he should be able to put on the numbers on a crossing route.
First down and 30 for Hillside as they give it to Raquez Brannon, their backup running back, who's rushed for almost 1,000 yards this year, and he gets maybe a yard before the Knightdale defense swarms to the football. Chris Malone, one of the first guys to hit him.
Yeah, and that was a nice tackle, because if he doesn't make that tackle, he's probably going to get about 6 or 7 more yards on that play. So now instead of second and 15, you're looking at second and almost 20 again.
Hillside running with just one running back to the left of Forte Ferguson this time. Wide receiver to either side. Passing again. Ball is caught in the slant by Thompson, trying to shake away from the tackle of Justin Blango. He cannot. Nice job by the corner to hold on for dear life. And that'll bring up third down and long again for Hillside. They've got it right around the 25-yard line, Joe.
Yeah, on second and 29, they come out and they throw a slant, and they get positive yards on the play. Good job of connecting, and sometimes you just take small increments. Like right now, they're pretty much close to their field goal kickers' field goal range, so they just want to have a successful play and get a chance to make a play.
Travion Thompson, we told you about his numbers, an all-conference player last year. Certainly in the running for that award again this season. 4 wide for the Hornets. Ferguson has time, heaves it downfield, got a man out there. Ball caught by Thompson, and he'll score. Touchdown, Hillside.
Nice job right there with the throw on the fade, and he hit him and led him upfield. Outside shoulder like you teach him to throw it between the little hash marks on the sideline and the sideline, and great job by Hillside of executing. They come out of a first and 30 situation and end up getting a touchdown.
20th touchdown pass of the year for Nash Forte Ferguson, the 13th touchdown grab for Thompson, and Hillside on their opening drive draws first blood as Ian Burris, 91% on extra points this year, drills that one through and gives the Hornets a 7-0 lead.
Yeah, we see right now that this could turn into a shootout as both teams are high potent offenses. Both teams have explosive players, so we should be in for a treat here tonight, Chris.
Yeah, Knightdale will now get their crack at this Hillside defense, and we will touch on that after this replay of the touchdown.
Yeah, you see nothing fancy, just a quick hitch step. He throws it, leads him outside, throws it on the outside half where only his guy has a chance to make the catch. You see a lot of penetration up top, and the speed of that Knightdale defensive line posed and made him throw it probably a little sooner than he was ready to. But he does a good job of leading the receiver to the open spot on the field, and that's good touch. Nice touch on the outside. You can see as fast as Knightdale is, Hillside's got a lot of speed on the outside as well.
You know, we mentioned this being new territory for Knightdale, their first ever second-round playoff game, but a lot of these guys for Hillside were not on the club when they won a state championship 3 years ago. They lost in the first round last year to Southeast Guilford, so maybe it's new territory for Hillside as well. How big is it for the confidence of these guys to go down the field and score on their first drive?
It is big for these guys. You're talking about a young football team, a team that's loaded with juniors and some seniors who've been around for a while. But one thing about this team is, you know, they've been winning for a while now, so they're used to winning. And even though they're in uncharted territory, they have more of an acclamation of what a big game means because they play so many of them over the years.
Burris to kick it away. Cheney and Quay Johnson are back deep. I imagine this ball will not be anywhere close to Marquavius Johnson. It's a short kickoff, and then it'll be fielded by Justin Blango, who drops it, and they're going to say his knee hit down, I believe. So Knightdale will start from right around the 25-yard line, down 7-0.
Yeah, good strategy as well, coming out, keeping it away from the deep threat, and now it'll be up to Knightdale to try to generate something with their offensive unit.
Offensive unit that averages 340 yards per game this year as Robert Cincinnati looks on. In his 10th year overall, 4th year guiding the Knightdale ship. I told you right before kickoff, he turned this program in from a 1-10 football team to a conference champion here in 2013. Marquavius Johnson has rushed for almost 1,000 yards, passed for over 700. He's been the spark plug to this Knightdale offense as he lines up from the shotgun. Knightdale working from the pistol as Johnson will give it away to nobody. He'll keep it and try the outside, and not much doing there.
Yeah, and one thing about this is he's going to have to make quick decisions because his Hillside team gets to the football really fast. So his decisions are going to have to be crisp. So it'll be key to him getting off to a good start. Here on the zone read, you see he looks inside. He doesn't like what he sees. The tackle does a good job, so it was a good read by him. And he tries to get to the edge, but that speed of that Hillside team is going to pose some challenges for him. It's not going to be as easy as it's been in some games past.
Outside linebacker Tashawn Dawson, an all-conference player last year, made the stop. It's a Hillside defense that's littered with seniors all over the place and only gives up 17 points a game. Nate Harvey finds some tough sledding up the middle. He'll get across to 30 and bring up a 3rd down and long on the opening possession for Knightdale. Hillside converted on a couple of those on their first drive. We'll see if Knightdale can do the same.
Well, Knightdale doesn't like 3rd and long situations because they don't. When their passing is kind of predicated on their success with the run. So it'll be interesting to see how they handle these situations when they get in these 3rd and long situations early in the game.
To your point, only averaging 78 yards a game through the year. They've completed 47% of their passes. It's 57 of 121, the total number for Knightdale this year. From a power pistol, Marcel Johnson got the handoff faked as Quay Johnson will keep it up the gut, and he'll be close, and it's going to depend on the spot, Joe.
Yeah, it looks like it's pretty close. I can't tell. I think it may be enough for the first down.
They're going to give it to him, not going to measure. So on 3rd down and almost 7, Knightdale converts and moves the sticks.
Yeah, nice job of execution as you get a taste of the Band-Aid brothers, Johnson & Johnson, as he fakes the handoff and is able to hit it up in the gap and does a good job on the zone read of attacking downhill.
1st and 10, Knightdale from the 35-yard line. Hillside defense trying to motion guys around. That was Kalen McClain, who's verbally committed to North Carolina State. Hand off to Harvey, nothing inside. We'll try the outside, and he's skimped by a couple of guys. Eric Young had the first crack at him, but couldn't bring him down. He lost the football, but it rolled out of bounds. Fortunate break there for Knightdale, and not much running room there for Nate Harvey on his first carry of the night.
Yeah, he's going to have to make his mind up to go ahead and hit it up hard inside. He's not going to have a lot of success beating this team to the edge. His best success will be getting up the field. And here you see he gets the handoff, nothing there right away. Once he makes this move now, he's got to get his shoulder square and get upfield. There's no need to keep bouncing it. You're not going to outrun anybody to the sideline at that point.
This is a Knightdale offense that's so high octane that Coach King said we're going to have to pick our times and we're going to blitz. The obvious blitzing downs, maybe 3rd and long, but they can't come on 1st down or 2nd and short, Joe.
No, you make a mistake and they're out the gate, and everyone in this Knightdale team can run, so it'll be dangerous for Hillside if that happens.
Hand off again to Harvey, and not a whole lot doing there. Brings up 3rd and long, and I think if you're Coach King, you can put Knightdale in third down and long situations, obvious passing downs. I think Coach King would take that all night long.
Yeah, he has to feel pretty good about it if he gets them in long yardage situations, because it allows him the opportunity to be a little bit more creative on defense and to pose some different looks for Knightdale to look at and try to recognize.
Knightdale ranked first in a lot of the area polls, and Hillside ranked as high as number 4. So a pretty big matchup here in Knightdale tonight as Johnson will pass for the first time tonight. Throws one, ball is bobbled and incomplete. Boy, I tell you, one of the Hillside players had a shot to pick. It was Robert Traham who had the ball fall out of his mitts. The 5'11" linebacker, the senior, couldn't make the play there. Would have given Hillside a short field now, and it's 4th down, and Knightdale's going to have to punt it away.
Yeah, and this is something that they're not accustomed to in a lot of ways is, you know, they tried to roll the quarterback out and give him a run-pass option. Well, Hillside's going to be fast enough to take that run option away, so he's going to have to throw the ball a little bit tonight, and can he be accurate enough and successful enough on the pass to keep his team in this ballgame?
Nick Pope, the senior, back to punt the football away for Knightdale. Good snap, and a booming kick from the right foot of Pope. It'll take a sideways bounce, and it'll be good field position from for Hillside as the ball is blown dead at the 35-yard line. So Hillside's defense holds, and a chance for the Hornet offense to go back to work and increase the 7-point lead.
Yeah, and offensively, they had to feel pretty good about their last possession because they had some success without the penalties. It would have been a little bit easier, but they did capitalize, and they did it in a lot of ways. They did it running and passing, and although they don't throw the ball a lot, when they do throw it, they want to have success.
Hillside, with that touchdown on their first drive, has now scored in 89 straight games, a pretty impressive streak for the Hornets as they just continue to rack up offensive numbers. Forte Ferguson with a touchdown pass on Hillside's opening drive. Back to work. Will go to the ground this time with Dante Thomas Williams. He lowers his head and gets about 8 or 9 yards.
Yeah, that's just making your mind up what you're going to do. He got the ball inside. He made the first man miss in the gap, and then he just lowered his shoulders and started looking for people to run over. And that's what good big backs do. They find a way to get downhill. Not a lot of dancing, not a lot of running sideways, and you get a lot more positive yards that way.
Split backs for the Hornets, 3 wide receivers. 2nd and 1 for Forte Ferguson. Handoff to Brannon, trying the outside, has the first down and more across midfield, and plus territory now for Hillside as they go to the ground and pick up a first down on 2 plays.
Yeah, Raquaz is the heir apparent to the position as the running backs start to move on, and he's a big load himself. He runs the ball hard. He does a good job of getting to the edge, but you see he's looking to square those shoulders up. He's making his moves, and we can see both of his numbers. That means he's coming downhill, and that's what you want to see from big backs.
You talk about the Hillside running back to lineage, if you will, as the torch was passed to Thomas Williams from Chris Francis, who's now at North Carolina. He was a pretty good running back last year. There's a pass to Dante Thomas Williams out of the backfield, and he will achieve the first down for the Hornets.
Yeah, and Thomas Williams stepped in this year, and they haven't missed a beat. He's been as successful as any back, over 2,000 yards rushing and contributing in the receiving game as well. And big back, but he's a special back, and you can see where he creates matchup problems. Here he's out of the backfield. He shows you some soft hands, and he's about within a fraction away from taking this to the house as Knightdale's lucky to be able to make a tackle. Chris Malone is able to get him by the ankles.
And coming off as Thomas Williams for a play as the Hornets continue to matriculate the ball down the field. It's Brannon again, and not a whole lot of real estate running on that time, but gets a couple of yards and brings up 2nd and 8. Hillside chewing up this first quarter clock, already down to 4 minutes to go in the opening quarter.
Yeah, and how disheartening can that be a little bit when you're watching a team just kind of grind you up a little bit, and you've only had the ball one time and you're almost at the end of the first quarter. That weighs on teams a lot. So it'll be interesting to see if Knightdale starts to pick up the pace a little bit when they get the ball back, or do they stick to the game plan?
This is normally Knightdale's game plan, to wear down your teams and just chew up the clock. Brannon again, he'll try the outside. Nice job of that front 4 or front 3 of that Knightdale defense to make an ankle tackle and bring him down. Adrian White clapping his hands. He was part of the stop there for Knightdale, as was Donovan Kearney, a backup tackle.
Yeah, we talk about Hillside's offensive line, but if you look right here at Knightdale's defense, they're able to make plays. You see Johnson coming off the edge and a big push on the inside as the big fella, Adrian White, is able to get a hat in there as well.
Another 3rd and long for Hillside. Botch snap. Forte Ferguson going down, and a sack and a big stop for this Knightdale defense.
It is, but they're in an area now where a lot of times Hillside will look to go for it, but I think they'll probably punt it to be safe in this situation, up 7-0.
Yeah, Hillside about 50-50, Joe, whether they're going to go for it or not. Coach King said if we're around our 50 or 40, maybe in the plus territory, will go for it, but too far this time.
Yeah, a high snap, a little too high to handle, and he does a good job of covering it up and getting the football. And, you know, little things have stopped Hillside today more than Knightdale's defense has.
Marquavius Johnson back to receive the kick of Ian Burris. It's a booming, spiraling kick, and it'll hit at the 2-yard line and bounce into the end zone for a touchback as Burris tried to coffin corner that one back there, but couldn't do it, and now Knightdale will start deep in their own end once again from the 20-yard line.
Yeah, and the Hillside has to feel pretty good about how they started, but Knightdale has to feel also like they dodged a bullet on that as Hillside was grinding it up. And with 2:24 left to go in this first quarter, it'll be interesting to see if Knightdale comes out and tries to be a little bit more aggressive on first down, just to try to loosen that Hillside defense up a little bit.
Look at the Knightdale crazies who have made the trip over. Robert Cincinnati hoping that he can spark his offense as they're trailing 7-0 and going against a pretty stingy Hillside defense. We told you about Hillside's dominance in their conference. You know, last time Hillside lost a Pac-6 conference game was 2009. That's 28 straight conference wins as they conclude this season with a perfect conference mark. Last time they lost was to Southern, their rival, who's now a 3A school. They've got a pretty big matchup this week with Cardinal Gibbons. From the power pistol again, man in motion as the handoff is faked, and Johnson will keep it up the middle, and he's shaking and baking, and will be close to the first down marker as he's finally brought down by KJ Covington, a defensive end.
Yeah, he does a lot of things well, and as I mentioned last time, he's a lot bigger than he looks when you look at him. Like, looking at him on film, he doesn't look that big, but when you stand beside him, he's a pretty big kid. And really quick feet, smart athlete, and he's going to fit right in when he gets to college.
Gain of 8, 2nd and 2 as we're under 2 minutes for the opening quarter, and a 7-0 Hillside lead. Again from the power pistol, it'll be Harvey trying the right side, and Hillside's defense there to bring him down and stop his forward progress. But I think it's going to be good enough to move the sticks, Joe, as he got a really nice spot.
Yeah, he did. He looked like he got across the 30-yard line and got the first down, and that's what they were looking to get. So Knightdale's handling their business now and marching back, and nothing really busy, just a little, almost a little tailback trap, trying to get the tailback in the hole with the guard pulling across. And Knightdale's not going to overwhelm you with fancy plays. They're just going to hit it hard and hit it inside. Flag
before the play came. Again, I think there was some movement up front. We'll wait and see who this one was called on. The official on the near side spots a encroachment foul on Hillside, and that'll give Knightdale a 1st and 5 situation. And boy, as you get later in the year and later in the playoffs, penalties in these games become paramount.
They do, and you hear about you know, teams that make the least mistakes usually win ball games. Well, right now Hillside's mistakes are starting to compound, and if they have too many of them, I don't know if they're athletic enough to be able to overcome it.
Knightdale 7-4 last year, lost in the first round of the playoffs at Clayton. That win over Southern Alamance, 38-15 last week, the first ever playoff win in school history. So uncharted waters for Knightdale on 1st and 5. Toss, near side, bobbled, finally picked up, and boy, I tell you what, staying on his feet there was Nate Harvey, but they're going to call him down way back at the 31-yard line.
Yeah, his knee buckled and touched the ground. If that knee doesn't touch the ground, though, that would have been a heck of a run, but way to stand up after a big-time hit. Hillside comes through, and he bobbles the toss a little bit, and he's fortunate to get the bounce he gets. And the Hillside player comes in and rocks him a little bit and takes him down, and the knee does hit the ground, but he gets back up. He's a tough little kid. He gets back up and tries to get yards out of the play.
Jalen Buffet, the strong safety at 5'10", 169, coming in to make the hit. Loss of 4. Johnson going to throw this time, and it's dropped. And that play was blown up from the start, had disaster written all over it.
Yeah, nothing about that play looked good. Then they're fortunate to get away with what they got away with, which was an incomplete pass.
And now 3rd down and 9 for Hillside, or for Knightdale, beg your pardon. Does Hillside come with a blitz here, Joe, on 3rd and long?
I don't know. I don't know if they can. I think you have to be careful because you can't really depend on the fact that they're going to just throw the ball. You got to have people in their lanes, and if you blitz from a lane and Johnson hits that lane with the football after the fact, then he may very well score a touchdown.
49 seconds to play. First quarter, Hillside by 7. Johnson calling for the snap. Play fake, bootleg, steps up, throws downfield, ball is caught. It'll be a 1st down for Knightdale as the Hillside defense swarms to the football, and it's hauled in by one of the Knightdale wide receivers there, Joe. Looks like Marcel Johnson on the catch, And we'll move the chains for the Knights.
Yeah, nice job, play design, a little play action, moving the quarterback out of the pocket because he's in a bad position. He raises up and throws the deep crossing route, a tab route, and does a good job of looking it in. And you can see Hillside gets to the ball, but after that point, it's too late. Knightdale's already got the first down.
Lamont Cheney made the catch for Knightdale. He's the team's leading receiver, 347 yards with 4 touchdowns this year. And now the ball right around midfield for this Knightdale offense. And how big was it for Knightdale, maybe for their confidence, more than anything, Joe, to pick up a first down?
That's good for them because they've been on defense most of the quarter. So to be able to keep your offense out there and get that defense a little bit more rest and have the potential to possibly get in a position to score some points before the end of this quarter is good for their offense.
Reverse the field position as well as Harvey, the second man through, gets the carry. Flag flies in. Not much doing for Nate Harvey, and we'll see what the flag is all about.
A little double dive action right there, and looked like it might have been a hold.
Saw Coach King pointing back against Knightdale. Coach Cincinnati looking on. Mike Thompson and Travis Coop are conferring, and Coop will give us the call. So he trots to the home side and signals a chop block on Knightdale.
Yeah, a little post chop, which means somebody was engaged when somebody cut into them. And they call that to protect those linemen because if they're engaged, they can't get their hands down to protect themselves on those cut blocks.
You know, we talked about Hillside, 9-2. Their 2 losses were some pretty good squads. They lost back-to-back games, one to Dudley out of Greensboro and another one to Country Day out of Charlotte. And then have reeled off 7 straight. But talking with Coach King this week, he said, I was really disappointed in our season. We're a couple plays away from being undefeated and having this game at home, and they're in the conversation with Scotland County for #1 overall seed.
Yeah, and that's one of the things when your seed is better, it changes things drastically. And when you got to play from the middle, it's tough because you're gonna run into some tough competition right out of the bat, and they're facing that right now.
Winner of this game gets the Newbern Scotland winner next week. First and long for Knightdale as Johnson is flush, looking downfield. He's trying to scamper and make something happen. Being chased as he throws, and that ball is going to be bobbled, and is it picked off? Yes. Intercepted by Kalen McCain, the future NC State player. He gets his first pick of the night and gives Hillside the football back.
Yeah, terrible decision by Johnson. When he went around, I thought he was just going to throw it away and throw it out of bounds or throw it deep out of bounds, and he just threw it up for grabs on the outside. And a good job by the safety of coming across and making the pick. Here you see he's flushed. Any other time we'll see him outrun these people by a lot. Hillside has a lot of team speed. He's keeping the edge, but then he's throwing the ball up in the air. And this is the part right here. He catches it and then points to the ground when he makes the catch right here. Watch this. Both feet are in. He lets you know that he's got him in. That's real smart football right there. He brought it to the referee's attention. No doubt he wasn't going to be able to question that at all.
The 6'1 senior making it happen. McLean actually committed to Virginia Tech first, decommitted, and is going to play for Dave Dorn at NC State next year. And now Hillside, the final play of the opening quarter, as it's a handoff to Dante Thomas Williams. He bulls ahead for about 3 yards and will end our opening quarter. But what a quarter it was, dominated by 2 very good offenses, and Hillside comes away, Joe, with a 7-0 lead after the opening stanza.
Yeah, right away both teams have to like their position. Knightdale has to be a little upset about where they are, but Hillside has to feel pretty good now coming into this thing with the lead and also having the ball with a chance to score again.
Thoughts on the opening 12 minutes so far? Any things that jumps out at you, Joe, that you weren't expecting?
Nothing really. I think I like what both teams are doing. I like that both teams are attacking. Both teams are in attack mode. I think that Knightdale's going to have to be able to throw the ball a little bit today to have some success. I'm not sure they'll be able to just run it the way they've run it on other teams in the conference when we've seen them play. They're going to have to mix it up a little bit to keep this Hillside team off balance, because one thing about this Hillside team, they'll play gap control defense, and they may give you a few yards on a couple of plays, but they're going to play downhill most of the game.
All right, let's go down to the field and join Marilyn Payne. Marilyn?
Hey guys, I'm down here with Student Resource Officer Pete Smith. You were mentioning earlier the team's different areas of attack. One thing that you never want to see is an attack on a student, obviously here at the school. Other things that you're looking to prevent, and one of the programs that you're developing at the school is teaching students how to prevent attacks. SR Pete Smith, as well as the administration here at the school, have started to develop a program. It's the Knightdale Public Safety Academy. Did I get that right? All right, tell me a a little bit about what caused you guys to start this academy.
Well, the vision of the Knightdale Academy of Public Safety is to get kids that have an interest in being public servants, get them immersed in the world of fire, medical services, and law enforcement. There are many facets to each and every one of them. It's not just a policeman in a uniform. You could be an FBI agent, State Bureau of Investigation, alcohol law enforcement. It's not just the firemen in the fire suits. It's the arson investigators. It's not just your paramedics on the ambulance. It's your ER nurses and your doctors and things like that. So we're trying to funnel these kids in through the high school academy that have an interest in public service and kind of immerse them in that and get them to follow their career paths of interest.
And as a move that the school is going to be making, you said that next year these will become classes. Your numbers are at 41 right now for the entire program. Tell me about the expansions that you hope to make with these classes.
Yeah, that's correct. We got 41 students right now currently enrolled in this academy. Next year it's going to be actually part of the curriculum. We're going to be looking for rising 8th graders, rising freshmen, and rising sophomores to enroll them. We're looking to hopefully get a 60 or so per class, 120 total. Involved in this program so that we can get the proper funding and get the teachers in place and make this program a success.
Well, we wish you all the best in developing your program and recruiting your students. Back to you guys up in the booth, Chris and Joe.
All right, Marilyn, thanks. 3rd down and long coming up for Hillside. Couple of penalties that really backed up the Hornets on this drive, and now 20 seconds into this second quarter, 3rd down and 9 coming up for Coach King and his Hornet offense.
Yeah, the offense come out and try to run a couple of plays and establish themselves, and now they're in a 3rd and 9 situation and probably looking to run a little bit of play action right here and get something going.
From the pistol, Nass Forte Ferguson will hand it up the middle. Dante Thomas Williams lowers his head and gets a first down for the Hornets. Nice running there right up the middle and just lowered his head and said, tackle me if you can.
Nothing special about that play. That's the way they ran that play lets me think they were thinking it was 4-down territory for them as they attack downhill, and nothing but just a little inside power. He gets inside, lowers his shoulder, and starts running through people like he's been doing all year.
Hornets move the chains, looking to go up by a couple of scores here. Handoff again. Thomas Williams sheds one tackle and manages to move ahead for maybe 6, maybe 7 yards. Nice run again there by Dante Thomas Williams. First man through was P.D. Hyman, the senior outside linebacker, to bring him down. Hyman's an interesting story. He's actually the VJ and DJ for all the school events here at Knightdale. One of the coaches called him the school comedian. He was a DJ for the Mr. and Miss Black and Gold pageant earlier this week, so he involved in the school pretty heavily. 2nd and 6. Forte Ferguson to throw. End zone, too long for Ray Green.
Had him wide open and just threw it a little bit too far. Pressure got to him a little bit at the end of the throw, and he let it go probably a little bit sooner than he wanted to, but that's when he's got to connect on.
And now 3rd down and 6, 3rd and medium here for Hillside. It's 4-down territory for the Hornets as you look at the replay.
Most definitely 4-down territory, but there's the play where he's drifting a little bit. He's got to step to that throw, and the ball went to where he drifted to. If he steps through it and makes the throw to the top part of the throw, he's probably going to get a completion and a touchdown.
3rd and 6. Man in motion, that's Miles Kellett. Forte Ferguson to throw, pop pass over the middle. Ball is caught by big number 12, Malik Evans, the tight end. He's short of the first down, but as you mentioned, Joe, probably 4-down territory here for the Hornets. That's the 6th catch of the year for Evans, who's an all-conference basketball player.
Yeah, he got a lot of big guys to go to, and nice job here stepping, watching, talking about throwing. That time he leads the tight end to a good spot. Good job of closing in and making the tackle by Knightdale and hitting him in between the numbers and driving him back and not allowing him to get the first down. 4th and 1, and Knightdale's going to burn their opening timeout here of the first half. Had the wrong personnel in the field 2 minutes into the second quarter. Joe, it's a 7-0 lead for Hillside, and nice job there by the tight end Evans. Just a simple curl route there, Joe. And how nice is it to have a tight end in high school who's dependable and can catch the football? When you've got a tight end who can catch and is also a pretty good blocker, it's a weapon, and we're seeing it evolve more and more on every level of football, and it's getting back down to the high school level where tight ends used to dominate, but they've kind of become obsolete with all these spread offenses. Now we're starting to see them incorporated again.
Look at those signs. They're pulling hard and trying to get the Hillside trio over to West Riley. McLean's already there. They want Dante Thomas Williams and Travion Thompson as well. They're working hard, Joe.
Hey, I don't blame them. They're trying to stack their roster. I'm not mad at them. NC State's trying to do some positive things over there and keep this local talent local.
Well, you look at Thompson, here are his offers. Ohio State, Clemson, Florida State, North Carolina, West Virginia, Duke, NC State, Purdue, South Carolina, Vanderbilt, and Virginia Tech. Then you look at Dante Thomas Williams, his offers. West Virginia, Clemson, Florida State, Notre Dame, Florida, Georgia Tech, Louisville, Minnesota, Carolina, NC State, Ohio State, South Carolina, Syracuse, and Virginia Tech. Covers the whole East Coast almost. Dante Thomas Williams bullying his way ahead on 4th and 1, and it's going to depend on the spot, but I think he got it.
Yeah, he got it by about a yard. So good job of attacking. He didn't look to try to break the big play. He just made sure he got the first down.
And we told you about Thompson, who's going to visit Ohio State tomorrow. Dante Thomas Williams will head down to Gainesville to check out the Florida Gators.
Wow. I mean, that's a good experience for these kids getting to go to all these places. And I do hope some of them decide to stay local and be a contributor for some of the local programs around here, because I'll get to see them play a little bit more. It's selfish of me, but I don't mind that. But, you know, I've enjoyed watching these kids grow up and mature, so it's fun to see them do it on the next level.
First down for Hillside. Forte Ferguson to pass. Lobs one, near sideline, ball underthrown, and the ball swatted away by Justin Blango, who was working on Travion Thompson there, and a nice defensive play. Ball was underthrown a bit, and there Thompson became just a defensive back there.
He did. He did a good job of keeping the DB from making the catch. But the quarterback has to lead him more to that pylon on the backhand side and make him fade a little bit upon it. And the deep ball, he looks like he has a little trouble with a few deep balls, and that's probably one of the biggest things he has to work on as a junior. You know, a lot of times that you're just trying to be accurate. You're not really worried about putting the ball in specific spots on deep throws, and he'll get that next year. And you know, the kid has a lot of talent, and a lot of upside, and you know, when it finally clicks for him, his name will be one of those names you'll see added to those lists of people checking off.
Dante Thomas Williams picks up about 8 or 9 yards on second down, brings up 3rd and short as they work from the pistol again. Ball is bobbled and loose, still loose, and I think Knightdale might have got it.
I think so.
They did. And when we talk about turnovers being a big part of this game tonight, Knightdale gets the first check in the turnover column with 9:15 to go in the half.
Yeah, that's a big turnover for Knightdale, too. They needed that because Hillside was looking to score. They had eluded a bullet twice where there should have been a couple of touchdowns, and now they've held their own and able to get the ball, and that was just a bad snap. Quarterback reaches down to hand it off and put it in his pocket, and he hits the running back on the leg and in the knee. And that's never a good recipe, and the ball's always going to bounce away from you when that happens. And Knightdale's Johnny on the spot, able to reel it in, and now they got an opportunity to try to put some points on the board before the end of this half.
And tie this game up at 7. You know, we had Hillside score in their opening possession, but the defenses have dominated really after that opening drive.
Yeah, I expected that right away. The defenses would be able to pick it up, and you know, we're thinking shootout early, but then when you get two fast teams like this on the field, anything can happen.
Not much running room there for Quay Johnson as he's thrown for a loss. Robert Traham and KJ Covington converge on the stop, and maybe some adjustments needed for Robert Cincinnati's offense, Joe.
Well, right now Hillside's playing it well, and that's why I think they got to go deep a couple times to try to loosen them up a little bit and make them think that they'll do that on first down in order to get some running room on those early downs.
Gain of a yard there is Coach Cincinnati checking his play chart and looking on as his offense tries and picks up this 2nd down and 9 as we're approaching the 8-minute mark of this opening half. Marcel Johnson gets the carry, weaving through a couple of tackles, trying the outside, lowers his head and gets a couple of yards. Look, he had a lot of running room. If he cuts it back to the right up that seam, Joe, he could still be running, but just didn't make the cut quick enough.
Yeah, he made a cut to get the shoulder square, but once he gets square, he has to be looking all the way to the backside on that side, and he didn't see that. But good run by him, though. A lot of times you'll see running backs that keep running lateral on that play and never cut it up. So he did cut it up and get positive yards on the play. Now he's put him in a 3rd and reasonable situation.
A 3rd down and about 5 to go here for Knightdale. 4-down territory, or do you have to pick it up here, Joe?
Oh, I think you got to pick it up here. I don't think you go for it here unless you got maybe a half a yard.
And Knightdale fumbles the football. And did the Hornets get it back? Yes. So Knightdale gets a turnover and gives it right back to this Hillside defense.
And they can't afford to do that, not giving a team like this the ball in this situation on this side of the plus 50. And here you see the quarterback gets the snap, and the ball is snapped a little high, and the running back comes through and runs right into it and knocks it out of his hands. And that's not something that you can really look at and grade. That was just a situation where the snap was where he was going, and it was just a conflict of interest for Knightdale as the ball bounces off the running back's face.
You saw Quay Johnson stretch out his hand saying, "Come on, man, what are you doing?"
Yeah, he had no idea the ball was going to be there, though.
Dante Thomas Williams, the carry, and Brings up second and short. Another powerful run there for that young man.
Yeah,
been really impressed with him so far.
He's a big back, and I like what I see. Usually you'll get a big back like that in high school, and they don't really run big. They'll just kind of be big backs that were speedy, and they'll elude tackles. And even though people are afraid to hit them, you know, they would get away with stuff. But this kid lowers his pads and runs through people.
Thomas Williams again picking up a first down and giving the Hornets a first and goal situation from deep in Knightdale territory.
Yeah, now, you know, sometimes as a coach you outthink yourself and you try to get fancy and throw the ball all over the place. I think Hillside's going to get content right now and say, you know what, let's give it to our horse, and let's see if we can't ride this guy off into the sunset.
First down, goal to go coming up for Hillside. Handoff, Dante Thomas Williams, and loses a couple of yards there. She was thrown down the backfield. Jake DeShields there to hit him, along with Marcel Johnson, who loses his helmet. He's got to come off for one play. It's a big loss for this Knightdale defense. Here's a look at the replay.
Yeah, you look at Marcel Johnson get in and deliver a boom. And, you know, we mentioned him a little bit earlier as a running back. Well, he's just as good on defense. In fact, I think he may be a little better defensive player than he is an offensive player. And, you know, he's one half of that Johnson brothers, as we talk about, that are big contributors for this team.
Up the middle, Thomas Williams, and not a whole lot doing there. Brings up third down and goal from right around the 5-yard line. So now you've run the ball a couple of times in a row. Do you try to go to the air here and get the touchdown?
I don't think they will. I think they'll probably run it off tackle or run something to the edge and try to put them in a situation where a small guy has to tackle their big back. But I think he's thinking 4-down territory anyway.
Got a pretty good field goal kicker as well. They go to the air this time for Thompson, and the ball knocked away by Blango. Another slant pattern over the middle, but a nice job by Justin Blango to get his hand in it and knock it away.
Yeah, Blango got between the receiver and the ball and did a good job of squeezing out. That's tough defense right there on a slant, and you can see when a DB can get in like that, they usually read it pretty good off top.
Hillside, I think they're going to go for it here on fourth down. They are.
Yeah, that's 4-down territory. He's pretty consistent about going for it in this situation.
3 wide for the Hornets. Forte Ferguson rolls out, looking to the end zone. Ball is picked off. Jake DeShields for Knightdale. Has some running room, and DeShields out around midfield. And DeShields being reeled in by Ray Green, but he reverses the field position, and a huge defensive play for Knightdale.
Yeah, big-time play on the end, and a good job of getting between the receiver and the ball. And the quarterback has to throw it in that situation, but he has to be careful not to throw the pick. He's got to throw it where his guy has an opportunity to get it. And that brings this Knightdale club back into the fold, and now their fans are excited and hoping that they can get some points out of this.
Second turnover Knightdale has got tonight, and the third pick of the year thrown by Forte Ferguson.
Yeah, he's rolling to his left, trying to throw to the running back out of the backfield. He's a little bit behind the back, but good coverage by Knightdale. Then you get the pick, and he starts running. It looks like he'd go, and he'd probably score on most teams, but this Hillside team is stacked with speed, and you see how he avoids the speed, and he goes out and he just reels them in and pulls them down, and that may be big because he saved a touchdown. Now it'll be up to his defense to see if they can get the ball back or actually keep some points off the ground.
And there was a flag on the play as well. It's going to go against Knightdale. Might have been a legal touching. The referee had both hands behind his back and moved him kind of back and forth. Here's a look at the call again as the referee, Travis Coop, will give us a signal. What did you see there on that, Joe?
Well, when he holds both hands behind the back, it means that somebody was off. There wasn't enough people on the line of scrimmage or something when they started. So it may have been not at the end of that play, but at the beginning of this series.
Knightdale's got it 1st and 10 from the 26-yard line, and here's the flag comes in right there. And a pass over the middle. As you get a look at the replay, we go back to live action, and it's hauled in by Lamont Cheney at the 3-yard line. It'll be 1st and goal for Knightdale as Cheney with his 2nd catch of the night.
Yeah, nice job of setting up and throwing the ball by Quade Johnson. And a deep post pass, and Hillside's in good position, but a better catch by the receiver going up and attacking at the highest point.
From the 3, handoff, Harvey, nothing doing. Hillside swarming to the football. Marcus Crutchfield in to make the stop alongside one of the linebackers as well for the Hornets.
And the action's starting to pick up a little bit, though, and this is good for both squads. And I'm happy that Knightdale is finally getting something going. I know their fans are been sitting on their hands most of the game, so I know they're excited about the opportunity of possibly getting a touchdown right here.
Johnson brothers in the backfield. It's Quay. Fakes the pitch, keeps it. He's strung out, trying to reverse fields. This has got bad written all over it, and he wisely steps out of bounds. Keith Beasley who's #1 in this class with a 4.98 GPA, runs him out of bounds, and some jawing after the play a little bit too.
Yeah, a little bit of talk by Quay, letting him know something. I don't know what he's letting him know, but he must not appreciate something. But good job by Hillside boxing him in. You look at the pursuit to the ball, and then even when he makes this move, look how many people have him surrounded. He can't go anywhere. He's got 5 bodies, 6 bodies, 7 bodies, 8 bodies around him, and there's nowhere to go.
So Knightdale had it 1st and goal from the 3. They've now got it 3rd and goal from the 12. So a 9-yard loss on a couple of plays, and we'll see what the Knights do here. Johnson, bootlegs, now going to throw, looking to the end zone, nobody open. Now going to try and run. He's flushed to the outside, needs to shake a couple of guys, and he's run down around the 5-yard line. So 4th and goal coming up as he was finally brought down by Robert Trahan, the outside linebacker.
Yeah, and even with all his speed, if you give Hillside that much time to converge, they're going to make plays. And this is a situation where they had a nice little play action. They were looking for that deep route they've been running, but Hillside's smart now. They've got it boxed in. Now you see the receivers try to uncover, and there's nowhere to go. At this point, when there's no receivers attacking the outside, he has to tuck and run, and he does that, and he's able to get good yards. Nice big hit by Hillside on the back end of that play by Robert Trahan.
And they're going to try a 23-yard field goal from the far hash with Taylor Betts. His season long is 34 that happened last week against Southern Alamance to put Knightdale on the board. The kick is good.
Right down Broadway.
So Betts hits from about 23 yards out and puts Knightdale on the board at 7-3 with 4:05 left here in the second quarter.
Yeah, nice job by Knightdale getting points on the board. Almost got it blocked, but he gets it off and sends it right down the middle of the upright of the goalpost. That's a good kick.
Really helps when you can have guys like that that are consistent kickers on a high school football team.
Yeah, the blocker just ran past it. He would have had to block if he would have been a half a second later. But good range on that, too. He probably could have made that from about another 5 or 6 yards back.
Look at the Knightdale marching band. It's finally something to cheer about for the Knightdale fans here on the home side. A lot of them have made the trip over. Nice crowd assembling here at Knightdale High School. You look across the way at what Hillside has brought to the table. They are packed over there like sardines. The Hornets no stranger to a deep playoff run.
Yeah, these people are packed and ready to go. They're real fans of their teams. And Friday night football is big. If you've ever been to a game at Hillside, you know, they're out there cooking. They're out there having fun. Every game is almost like a homecoming game for them because football is big in that community.
You got to try those fish when you go over there, too.
Man, it's awesome, dude. When I go over there to games, I try not to eat before I go because I know it's going to be on when I get there.
Ready to kick it away is Chris Clifford. Knightdale's got about 3 different guys who could do the kicking, which is not a bad problem to have as Clifford has the ball teed up and ready to boot it away. We'll see if they kick it deep. I imagine not here. As the kick is high and short, coming to the near side. Fair catch called for as 2 players collide. It'll be Hillside ball from around the 35-yard line, but a bit dangerous there as Marcus Crawl and Raquaz Brannon both collide, but it'll be Hillside football and a fortuitous break for the Hornets.
A big break right there. That looked like it was going to be ugly for a second as he was calling for a catch and the bodies were about to collide. They have to be a little bit more vocal, though. You got to call it and you got to wave people off and let them know that you got it.
So Hillside back to work, and it'll be interesting to see what the Hornets do here if they let Forte Ferguson throw it and maybe regain his confidence after that big interception to truncate their previous drive. They work from the pistol here as the handoff comes to the big running back. This is Brannon, who gets a couple of yards near the 40-yard line. So they go back to the ground, and really Hillside could run about 4 or 5 different backs at you and not lose a step.
Yeah, they got a bunch of big guys that can run the ball. And you know, that Knightdale defense is going to have to hold its own out there up front. And so far they've been up to the challenge.
Second down for Hillside. 2nd and 7 as the handoff comes to Brannon again, and nothing doing there. He stopped behind the line. Nice job by the front 3 of Knightdale to converge and make the stop.
Yeah, nice job of converging on the ball. They were all coming from various platforms, and they were all squeezing inside. And I think their main focus now is to take away the inside run. So Hillside's going to have to tack a little bit off tackle or maybe try to get outside if they want to get some positive yards on the run game.
So another 3rd down here for the Hornets. It'll be 3rd down and 7 as we approach the 3-minute mark of the opening half. Ferguson pointing to a defender as he gives the handoff to Brandon, trying the outside. Lowers his head and skirts for an extra couple of yards. 4th down coming up and maybe 4-down territory here, Joe?
You know, I don't know. I think it's in this point, he may go for it because he's pretty consistent about doing it. But a lot of times we'll see they'll get up and try to get you to jump off sides, and then they'll come out and punt. It looks like they may go for it right here, though.
They send Green and Kelly to the near side. Thompson will be at the top of your screen as you get a look at Forte Ferguson ready for the shotgun snap. Calling for it, trying to draw Knightdale offsides. The Knights don't budge, and now looking to the sideline for maybe a new play call. And a snap infraction there on Knightdale as Thompson faked like he was going to snap it in a miscue from the all-conference center from last year, and now Hillside will most likely be forced to punt the football.
Yeah, they'll punt it now. I think they were just trying to hopefully get him to jump, but the center's got to be a little bit more disciplined in that situation. He's ready to go.
It's an illegal procedure motion, but it's really a snap infraction. Take a look at the packed press box tonight. Chris and Joe with you. Glad that you've joined us on Time Warner Cable Sports Channel tonight. Marquavius Johnson and Lamont Cheney are back deep for Knightdale. And a whistle will stop play for the moment as our officials will confer at midfield. Not sure what they're talking about here, Joe.
I think somebody may have called a timeout. Or they thought somebody was calling a timeout.
Maybe some issue with the play clock, that they were being kept on the field. Either way, it's 4th down and Hillside ready to punt it away as the clock begins again. Ian Burris to punt it away. Good snap. Now low line driving kick, just trying to kick that one away from Marquavius Johnson, but decent field position for Knightdale as the ball rolls dead at the 36-yard line. So this Knightdale defense, Joe, has finally settled in, and now it's the offense's turn to try and get in gear and maybe take the lead on this drive with a touchdown.
Well, the defense has been good. They've bent, but they haven't really broken. But that one time where they've given up a touchdown, but they've done a good job of sustaining. And when you can do that against a high-powered offense, you give your offense chances. Sooner or later, your offense is going to break through. And you got to think that this Knightdale offense is just peaking and about ready to have a big play happen.
And we told you these are two programs who have never played a game. This is the first time these folks have ever met. No scrimmages, no 7-on-7s, no nothing. So new territory for both of these squads. As Knightdale goes back to the ground, they're running with Kamel Bloodworth, and Bloodworth carrying the ball tight and high will get to the 40-yard line for about 2 or 3 yards.
Yeah, nice job on the little blast sweep, getting to the edge, and he turns his shoulders. You can see why, he's going to get these carries. He runs hard and strong, and he was holding on to that football for dear life. Not going to fumble that thing, but a little blast sweep. He gets it on the outside, gets to the edge. You got blockers in front of him. Everybody's got a hat on somebody, and then he just gets north-south and gets positive yards.
And a lot of positive yards there. 2nd down and medium as Johnson will throw near side for Marcel Johnson, who cannot make the catch. He was out of bounds. Wow. Happened right on the Knightdale sideline, and Coach Cincinnati will give the officials an earful there.
Yeah, that was close. I couldn't tell from where he was, but a good job of reading it on the run by his brother. And here you see the quarterback looking, doesn't like what he sees, and the receiver goes up. Good call. He does have the foot. The foot is on the ground. He's on the outside. He's got to establish 1 foot first, and the first foot that hit was outside. Good call by the umpire, by the official on the play.
So now 3rd down and 6. And boy, if you're Knightdale, you have to regroup quickly and come back out for a big 3rd down with the ball right around midfield.
Yeah, they'd like to get a 1st down here. I don't think they want to give Hillside the ball back, even though it's not a lot of time left on the clock. They don't want to give Hillside that ball back.
And I think the Knights are going to burn a timeout. They are. So Knightdale down to just 1 timeout for the final 1:19 of the opening half. But let's remember, Joe, that Knightdale won the toss and deferred, so they get the football to open up the 2nd half. So if you can go down, put some points on the board, will be big going into the locker room.
It would be, and even if you just get a field goal, it's big, because right now they're just trying to keep this thing close and waiting for a way to break out. And it looks like Hillside's making the mistakes right now that Knightdale can capitalize on, but they're good enough. Hillside's been good enough on the defensive end to avoid a catastrophe. And Knightdale has nothing to be ashamed of. They played a good football game, and they've played to their strengths. They haven't forced anything. Their 1 turnover they had didn't hurt them. Well, the 2 turnovers they haven't hurt them yet. So, you know, they have to feel pretty good about where they are right now.
This is a Hillside defense that gave up almost 300 yards rushing to Clayton last week. I realize it's a different animal, but is it a point of concern for Coach King this week?
Well, I mean, when you play wing T teams, you're going to have to concede something, and Clayton doesn't run it like a lot of teams do, you know, and that's one of the things he talked about a little bit when we talked about it. Most teams establish their fullback or their B-back in the wing T, and you game plan for that. They don't. They do it only out with the outside guys, and that's tough to defend because guys have to be disciplined, have to stay at home, and if your guys are used to something and they have to make an adjustment, they're thinking they're not playing.
Timeout is over. 3rd down and 6 for Knightdale, 4 wide, with Johnson working as the quarterback. They'll send Marcel Johnson in motion and flags in motion all along the front line. And it's going to be on Knightdale, and that'll hurt the Knights' cause right there.
Yeah, that's not good. They don't need to be in long yardage situations.
We'll make it 3rd down and 11. And boy, your play call from 3rd and 6 to 3rd and 11 changes a whole lot.
It does. You go from a situation where you probably could run or pass, and now you're in a situation where you're almost forced to pass.
Coach Cincinnati looking to his offensive coordinator as he gives the offense the play sheet. Quay Johnson checking his wristband, a future East Carolina Pirate. He's committed to ECU for football and for track. Bootleg, far side, throws down the field, and he had Marcel Johnson, led him too far, and Kalen McClain dropped the pick.
Yeah, that would have been a big pick right there because everything was running away from him. If he catches that, gets left, and then gets back in the right-hand lane, he might take it to the house.
Would have been his 2nd pick of the night, but he just led the receiver too far here.
Yeah, he did, and the quarterback raises up, running to his left, throwing to his left, and he leads him too far. But look at all that territory he's got out to the right-hand side if he makes that catch clean, and that's probably what he's looking at.
So Knightdale will have to punt it away again, and Hillside 73 seconds and all 3 timeouts. A chance maybe to put some more points on the board here late in this opening half. Hillside maybe going to bring a rush. They do from the outside, but they can't get it. And it's going to be fielded by Thompson. They kick it to him this time. Flag coming in. Will most likely be a block in the back. As Thompson, not a whole lot of running room and is swarmed under, but Hillside will be backed up even further, Joe. And Coach Cincinnati looks on. A mistake that if you're Antonio King and the Hillside coaching staff, you're probably not too pleased with.
Not happy at all, and right now they're shooting themselves in the foot. Every time they do something positive, they find a way to undo it. And, you know, as a coach, that gets a little bit frustrating, and we've seen him several times on the sidelines looking frustrated because his guys haven't executed properly. And now he's trying to give his guys some motivation and tell them that, you know, guys, we got about a minute left in this half. Let's execute well. Let's run our little 2-minute set. Let's be safe, though. Let's not force it any bad throws. We'll take the obvious, and if not, we'll get in here with a halftime lead.
So the block at the back backs the Hornets up 10 yards with a minute to go. Ball at the 21, 22-yard line. Really take your pick here as the Knightdale fans look on. Not a whole lot to cheer about for this Knightdale offense tonight. A couple of big plays. It's been the Knightdale defense keeping the Knights in it tonight. Forte Ferguson, deep ball over the middle for Ray Green, who makes the catch in Knightdale territory.
Yeah, they're lucky he lost his footing right there. He would have been gone, and that kid has some wheels. He's moving out. Watching him separate on the last couple of routes. He's even when the ball's in the air, and he's pulling away by a lot when that ball gets there. Look at where he's at now, and then look how he's separating at the end. But a good job of looking it all the way in and going up and catching it with his hands.
Big catch for Green. Another catch gives him 2 tonight. Forte Ferguson to throw, deep ball into double coverage. Push off there will most likely be offensive pass interference on Trayvon Thompson, who pushed off a little bit too early.
That's a smart play, though, because he kept the ball from being intercepted. Yeah, he'll get the penalty. It'll be a 10-yard penalty, but what he's done is he's kept the ball in the hands of his team, and so they have an opportunity to convert again.
Officials have been busy tonight with the flags. Not been a very clean football game. As you see the pass interference on Thompson, back the Hornets up 10 yards.
Yeah, here you see the ball's in the air, and he recognizes right away that he's overthrown. So what he does is the smart thing. He doesn't allow them the opportunity to get it. He pushes off a little bit and creates a little chaos, so that would have been an easy interception.
You know it's obvious when I can tell what the call is. So back the Hornets up 10 yards, and that'll put the ball back into Hillside territory. I'll be back at the 45-yard line. That's a 15-yard penalty in high school. So Hillside all the way to Highway 64 to go for the first down. As Coach King looks on, and 41 seconds to go. Is Hillside just conceded here, Joe, you think?
No, I think they've got an opportunity to still make plays. I mean, you don't have to hit the deep ball exclusively. You can throw some stuff underneath and hope something happens as well.
A delayed handoff here, and that is blown up in the backfield as Knightdale ready and waiting for it. It was Marcel Johnson, the first man to hit him. Give a tip of the cap as well to Knightdale's other defenders. Shaquan Holder in there to make the stop as well.
Yeah, good job on the blitz, and they come off and they get penetration up front, and right now they're getting lower than the Hillside front 5, and they're pushing them back and they're making plays in the backfield.
And now 14 seconds to go, clock moving on 2nd down and 30. Hillside begins to walk toward the end zone where they will huddle at halftime. I don't think the Hornets are going to try and run another play. And they're content to go to the locker room leading 7-3. We thought maybe an offensive shootout, Joe, but it's been defenses who have ruled the story here in the opening half.
Yeah, so far the defensive has reigned supreme, and both sides have been pretty good on defense, and they've been able to maintain and keep those high-powered offenses out of the end zone.
All right, so we head to the locker room with Hillside up 7-3. Our second half comes up next on Time Warner Cable Sports Channel. A first half dominated by defense as Hillside takes a 7-3 lead into the locker room, and Knightdale hoping they can put the lights out on Hillside as we start the third quarter of play. Chris Edwards, Joe Simmons back in the booth here at Knightdale High School. Marilyn Payne roaming the sideline for us tonight. And it'll be Knightdale, Joe, getting the football to open up this third quarter and trying to trim into this lead, maybe even take the lead early in this third quarter.
Yeah, Knightdale's put themselves in a pretty good situation, and Hillside has already said they're not going to show them they're not going to kick it deep. So Knightdale will probably get this ball with pretty good field position and an opportunity to take advantage and take the lead in this game. Another
high, short kickoff. Knightdale making some adjustments as Lamont Cheney coming up, and he'll signal for the fair catch. And indeed, it is pretty good field position for Knightdale as they start from right around the 30-yard line. So we'll see if this Knightdale offense has made any adjustments, Joe, at halftime. If you were in that Knightdale locker room at halftime, what adjustments would you be making?
I think you'd probably have to make a few adjustments to how you're going to attack in the passing game. I think right now by rolling the quarterback out, Hillside's left the backside pretty much open and tried to congest the middle of the field and push the quarterback wide and make the tough throws tough. I think they'll probably make a few adjustments and go with a little bit more play action on early downs.
And Hillside adjustments?
Hillside's just going to have to be able to attack more down the field and get completions when they have the opportunities.
Knightdale to the ground to open up this third quarter, and it's Nate Harvey who was silenced a bit in that first half. I think Knightdale might have got away from their strength and got away from Harvey a little bit late in that second quarter.
Yeah, with the zone read, a lot of times the show was for the quarterback to pull, and then they were converging on it. And I think now they're going to probably force it a little bit inside and see what they can get.
10 seconds into the third quarter, and Knightdale on the move. It's Harvey again up the middle, and not much running room there. KJ Covington grabbed him, couldn't wrap him up, and in to finally make the stop from Hillside was Lawrence Fogg, a 5'8 junior defensive end.
Yeah, you see a lot of flow on the defense that time, and running back gets inside behind the blocker and does a good job of getting shoulder square, but it was just too many Hillside players at the point of attack.
Robertson Cinney looking on as his team picks up 2. They go to the ground again, and not a lot of running room for Harvey. They've showcased him 3 times now. He picked up a first down, and now facing a third down and 8 or 9 to go. Do you go to the air here if you're Knightdale?
I think they may have to. At that time, Marcus Crutchfield was Johnny on the spot as he got up inside and came off his man and was able to wrap up the running back. And sometimes you could have a perfectly executed play, but one breakdown will cause the play not to be successful.
Hillside defense, you can tell these guys are just get after it and gritty. Look at the helmet there. Paint's chipped off. He's getting after it. Johnson will fake the sweep and keep it. He's trying to dodge tackles and gets up to the 45-yard line, so not a whole lot doing there. And fourth down coming up for Knightdale.
Yeah, good job at the point of attack again by Hillside and getting off blocks and making tackles. And here I thought he gave it on the jet sweep. It looked like it would have been a successful play. But a little fake jet sweep, he's able to read it and run it, get a few yards, but not enough for a first down.
So Knightdale reverses the field position a bit, and they'll be forced to punt it away to this Hillside offense, who tries to add to their 7-3 lead. Nick Pope on to punt the football away, digs out the low snap and gets away a pretty good kick. Thompson from the 29-yard line. Flag coming in, probably another block in the back. And that negates pretty good field position by Hillside, as the foul is 10 yards from the spot of the foul, and the flag back at the 33-yard line, so back Hillside up 10 yards from that spot.
Yeah, I'd have to see it again, but it looked like he was doing a pretty good job of just keeping his hands up and staying in the lane. I didn't think he pushed. I think the contact was actually a little bit incidental on the play, but the referee saw the contact and was able to blow it down. Here, as you see him running down, see, he's just standing, he's running up. He's not. It's incidental contact at the point. He didn't really even make contact with him. That's just a case of being in the wrong place at the wrong time, and it just gave a false appearance, and the official did his job of calling what he saw.
Yeah, tough break there for the Hornets. They're back to the 23, and now we'll see Nass, Forte Ferguson, Dante Thomas Williams, Trayvon Thompson, and the rest of this Hillside offense that was held in check after that opening drive of the game.
Yeah, you know, they didn't capitalize on their opportunities when they had them. I think as a coaching staff, though, they got to be a little bit more aggressive with their play calling and try to get some players the ball in space, and not every ball has to be a home run ball when it's thrown.
Kelly went in motion as the handoff comes to Thomas Williams, and shaking tackles and getting up around the 30-yard line, so pick up about 7 yards there. And a nice job on first down by Thomas Williams, who loses his helmet out for a play.
Yeah, it looked like a face mask on the play they didn't call. Like he pulled his helmet off at the end of the play. I'd have to see it again.
We'll get a look at it right here.
Replay. He's running around on the blast sweep, and he cuts it up, and right about here, looks like I saw grabbing face mask right there and pull his helmet off. And, you know, that's one of the situations where you lose a guy for a play because a penalty should have probably been called on the play.
Brandon gets the carry this time and shakes ahead for a couple of yards. Terrific look by our crew, and we say it every week, but they are indeed the best in the business.
Yeah, they are. We're very fortunate to have guys with the ability to get us some of the shots we get. They make us look better than we really are.
No doubt. Did a heck of a job last week bringing you the soccer championships live and the cheerleading championships as well. And up in the lift, we appreciate everybody on our crew doing a heck of a job tonight and all season long. 3 minutes have passed here in the third quarter. Hillside, their first possession of the third quarter, facing a 3rd and 1. Forte Ferguson, handoff to Brannon, and some miscommunication there. Brannon gets the first down, but it was maybe one of those zone reads, if you will, Joe. And I don't think Forte Ferguson wanted to give up the football.
He was ready. He was ready to pull it because the read was a pull, and he's fortunate that it wasn't fumbled there. But a good job hanging on to the football by Brannon and getting the first down.
Hillside trying to add on to this 7-3 lead. So Hornets go 3 wide. Knightdale showing blitz. Here they come. They fire downfield. Leaping catch made, and a first down for Hillside as Thompson hauls it in.
And that's what I was talking about, attacking with mid-range throws, throwing some hooks, throwing some crossing routes. Every play you throw doesn't have to be a bomb. And now get the quarterback in a little bit of a rhythm and allow him to but a good job by Thompson of going up and get the ball. You know, not a lot of receivers have the ability to go up and get the ball like that in traffic.
You saw the vertical ability of Thompson, played basketball for Hillside last year. Hornets went 21-8 on the hardwood, went to Fayetteville in the regional semifinals, lost to eventual Eastern champion Broughton 65-49. Handoff up the middle. This is Dante Thomas Williams, who rolls across midfield and picks up 5 or 6 yards on first down.
When you get 5 or 6 yards on first down, it opens that playbook up a little bit too and allows you to be aggressive. And Dante Thomas Williams is starting to get a little bit going now. He's starting to get that engine crunk up. And for a guy that's a 2,000-yard rusher, you got to think that a big play is right around the corner for a guy with his ability.
Yeah, he's run for 18 touchdowns on the ground this year, 19 total. As Hillside works from a variation of the pistol, and a flag from the official on the near side will most likely be a motion penalty on the Hornets. It is, and back Hillside up 5 yards.
Yeah, the left guard got a little bit antsy on the play and flinched a little bit too soon, and they were going to run a little bit of counter motion and set up a situation where they could have a lead blocker for the back. And here you see the center again raises up and false snaps it.
2nd and 10 now for Hillside as Kelly goes in motion. Handoff, Dante Thomas Williams, and he rolls ahead for 4 or 5 yards again. I mean, look, he was wrapped up for a gain of maybe a yard. and then just powered ahead for an extra 3 or 4 yards.
That's what a luxury of a big back does for you. It looks like he's going to be dead to rights about a yard in the backfield right here, and then all of a sudden he breaks that tackle, and then he takes him on a $5 cab ride and picks up a few more extra yards.
Hadn't been too many cab rides tonight.
Not a lot.
3rd down, 5 to go. 4-down territory for the Hornets here.
If tradition says anything about them, probably so.
3 wide. Handoff. Thomas Williams again, nothing. 4th down and 5 from right around midfield. You know, talking to Antonio King, the Hillside head coach, he referenced a story I think I saw on ESPN the other day where there's a coach in Texas, a high school coach who never punts, always goes for it, always onside kicks, and he's won a couple of state championships, so his system works. Coach King said, "I'm glad I'm not the only crazy person around." That was his exact quote to you and I before the ball game today. They're going to go for it on 4th and 5. Back to pass. Ferguson fires. Ball is hauled in, and a first down for Hillside as Dante Edwards, a backup tight end, the 6'3", 235-pound junior, makes his 3rd catch of the year. It's a big one and moves the sticks for Hillside.
Well, you got all these weapons on your field, and you come out on 4th down and you throw it to your backup tight end. You know, that says a lot about the talent that this team has. A good job, nice job of running his route, getting open, and making sure he got both feet down and had control of the football. Confident play and a big-time play by the Hillside Hornets.
From the 42 of Knightdale, nothing doing for Brandon.
Yeah, Brandon is not having as much success in the holes as Thomas Williams is, but a very effective running back. Very good feet. Watching him a little bit in the pregame, watching him take his steps. He has good feet and good vision, but he's not having a lot of success on his run on the plays that are being dialed up for him tonight.
A nice job of that Knightdale defense, just swarming to the football. Had 4 or 5 hats to the ball there. 2nd and 10. As Forte Ferguson working from the gun. Handoff to Brandon. Tries the outside. Gets past the tackle of Tyler Jenkins and powers his way ahead. Is yet to go down. A late flag comes in. And I think we're going to tack on 15 yards to the end of that play.
Yeah, and that's the power I was just talking about this kid, how big he is and how strong he is and good feet. You see he got staggered a little bit, but he has really good footwork, and he's able to get his feet under him and gather his balance and get positive yards. And then he runs over people and gets to the sideline, and now it may be a late hit tacked onto this.
Officials are conferring. Travis Cooper, our referee, will signal the personal foul on Knightdale. And boy, when you're in a game like this, Joe, you can ill afford a penalty like that.
Yeah, it looks like he's dead to rights about 3 yards in the backfield right here. You got a big defensive lineman grabbing a running back, and he can't bring him down, and then he just starts out running people and running through people. And now he's out of bounds, and that was a late hit. Good call by the officials. You got to protect that kid on the sidelines.
That's just a frustration play there by that Knightdale defense.
Well, it is, and he's just running to the ball. He doesn't realize he's that far out of bounds. When you're that close to the sidelines, it's hard to tell sometimes. I'm sure it was no intent.
So Hillside's got the ball at the Knightdale 21-yard line on the precipice of the red zone here.
Precipice.
Precipice. That's your word of the day.
All right.
5.5 to go, 3rd quarter. Hornets trying to add on to this 4-point lead. Delayed handoff. It's Thomas Williams trying to shed a tackle, and Marcel Johnson an ankle grab to finally bring down Thomas Williams.
Yeah, you're going to keep grabbing at ankles, and sooner or later he's going to break one, but you got to like what this Johnson kid does on defense. He's everywhere. It seems like almost every time there's a play being made on defense, he's somewhere around it or he's somewhere around where it started.
From the shotgun again, Hillside exclusively from the gun here as Forte Ferguson hands it away to Thomas Williams, trying to make something happen, and not a lot of running room there. And 3rd down coming up for the Hornets.
Yeah, and he lost his helmet again. He needs to get that thing tightened up a little bit. It's coming off a little bit too easy.
You know, I asked Coach King in my meeting with him earlier this week, I said, what kind of offense do you run? Is it a spread? He goes, no. He said it's a hybrid spread, a West Coast offense.
It is. It's a little bit of a, it's run-oriented, which is what people get confused about. But he likes his quarterback in the gun because it allows him the opportunity to see and read things from a better perspective.
3rd and 4. Forte Ferguson to pass. Near side, got a man open. It's Thompson. Stretches for the end zone. No signal yet, and out of bounds. Shy of the goal line at the 2.
He must have stepped out because it looked like he extended and got the ball over the goal line when he did. But good job and a good throw by the quarterback at getting your playmaker an opportunity on the outside. And here you see the catch. He turns upfield, and his foot stepped out before he reached out. Good, like I said, officials are right on the spot tonight.
So it's 1st and goal, Hillside from the 2. Handoff to Thomas Williams, plows ahead and scores.
And that's what I like to see running backs get low and extend and be willing to give up your body and score the touchdown. And right now, Hillside's got themselves an advantage. And the way their defense has played today, Knightdale has to be a little bit concerned about that.
19th rushing score for Dante Thomas Williams, his first score of the game. And he puts Hillside up by 10. And Ian Burris, who transferred from Riverside prior to this season, never played football until this year. And a flag before the extra point was blocked, and I think Knightdale jumped offside early. But to finish up the thought on Burris, and there is the offside call, transferred from Riverside, never even thought about football. Coach King said, hey, why don't you come try and kick for the football team? He has. He's hit 91% of his extra points this year, and Coach King said, you know what? He's my secret weapon now.
Yeah, I mean,
the secret's out of the bag.
They didn't have any kickers for a long time, and you know, it's hurt them in some games in years past, and having a guy that can do it consistently now changes things for them.
And you see the offside penalty called on Knightdale.
I'm sure they'll go for 2 now,
yeah, they
but they cut it back. You give this team a chance, they only have to get a yard. They're probably going to take advantage of it.
Power football time, you would imagine, as they work from a power pistol formation from the shotgun. Forte Ferguson, he'll hand it away to Thomas Williams toward the end zone. 2-point try is good, and Hillside takes a 15-3 lead. And boy, a costly penalty there for Knightdale. Instead of being down by 11, you're now down by 12, and it extends it maybe a couple more scores, Joe.
Yeah, interestingly enough, you know, you put yourself in a situation now where you have to change, and here on the 2-point conversion, nothing special. He just gets it and gets downhill, gets behind a couple of blocks. Knightdale gets good penetration, but his size is really demanding, and he's able to get through the hole and make a great run out of something that was a very small opportunity. Here we have the touchdown, more the same, but he does a good job of giving up his body and extending. And we see him going in and scoring, and you see all those fans going crazy on the Hillside side, really elated and happy to see their team put some points on the board.
Well, before we kick it away, let's go down to the field and say hello again to Marilyn Payne.
Hey guys, as y'all were talking about earlier, Coach Antonio King over on the Hillside sideline said to us before the game that he was going to go for it on 4th down until someone could tell him why he shouldn't. He said that parents and different assistant coaches and some of his players would question him occasionally, and he said, until you can tell me why not to, I'm going to. After a good 4th and 5 conversion scored on the drive, he also took a great bit of advantage there of one of Knightdale's few penalties that they've had this game to go ahead and put his team ahead. It looked like he had a similar amount of confidence there, going for 2 points and getting it.
Yeah, no doubt, Marilyn. Thanks. Nice work on the sideline, Joe. Now time for this Knightdale offense to get back to work. You're kind of in a spot that you're not used to if you're Robertson City's club. You've won 8 in a row and haven't really trailed since the early part of the season.
Yeah, and that's what we talked about. You know, they've been tested a little bit throughout the year, but they've been playing from the front because their running game has been able to capitalize as a result of that. And you have to play from behind, and you're forced to pass the ball. Can you do it against a team with this much speed on the field, and can you be effective? So we'll find out what their strategy is down the stretch.
Knightdale's only loss this year, a 1-point loss to Heritage here at home on September the 6th. Little screen pass. It's too tall for Lamont Cheney. Justin Blango tried to pick it up, and I'm not sure who Johnson was throwing to that time.
Yeah, that had disaster written all over it. Looked like they were trying to run a little flea flicker, you know, on the play and run a hook and ladder or something to get somebody going on the outside, and the ball was delivered high, and the receiver who was intending to block ended up getting the ball thrown in his direction, and they were very fortunate they didn't bounce off him and get picked off by a Hillside player.
2nd down and 10 coming up for Knightdale. They check the wristband, and we'll look over this Hillside defense, maybe showing some pressure as the snap is bobbled, but somehow Knightdale able to pick it up and run it out for a couple of yards. Nice job there by Nate Harvey to make something out of nothing.
Yeah, good job, and good handling of the ball there by Johnson. The ball like he was struggling to get the handoff in, but he did a good job of gathering it and getting it to the running back in time, and they were able to get positive yards on the play.
Under 4 minutes to go in the 3rd quarter. Hillside defense has been stellar tonight. You look at the crowd on the home side. Just the 2nd ever playoff game at Knightdale High School. Hillside's also brought a nice contingent. from down the road in Durham. 3rd down and 7 to go. That'll taking a lot of time to get the plays off for an offense that likes to work quick. Johnson will throw in an incomplete pass. Was trying to hit one of his receivers on the outside, Corey Aiken, who's caught a touchdown pass for the Knights this year, but it's incomplete. A flag is in, though, thrown by the referee in the backfield. We'll wait and see what the official has. I think I'm not quite sure what it's going to be, to be honest with you.
Where it's at, it could be roughing the passer.
It's going to be a procedure penalty on Knightdale, so that'll hinder the Knights' cause, back him up 5 yards if Hillside elects to accept the penalty.
I'm sure they may make him punt it if that was 3rd down.
And the penalty is going to be declined, and it will be 4th down. And indeed, Knightdale will trot the punting unit on, and it's just been a half that Knightdale just haven't been able to find any rhythm or offensive mojo, partner.
Yeah, they're struggling to find the rhythm at all, and you have to wonder, you know, are they going to have to change things up, or do they stick with the plan? But they can't afford to give up any more points if they plan on sticking with the plan.
Well, is this a point where you may want to see Marquavius Johnson keep the ball in his hands or go out as a wide receiver?
Well, they may have to do that or do something to try to get him involved where he can make plays, because no one else has been able to get involved in the playmaking process.
Nice punt by Nick Pope as Thompson fields another flag coming in for block in the back, and that'll negate another nice return there by Trayvon Thompson.
He can't get it going because I guess these special teams players aren't used to the speed that Knightdale is presenting, and they're making mistakes by getting blocks in the back on those plays.
And this Knightdale defense has been really the best part about Knightdale so far tonight. They've kept the Knights in it, but you have to wonder how much longer this defense, they've been on the field a whole lot tonight, can just continue to stop this potent Hillside offense.
Yeah, and Hillside's throwing a variety of big guys at them too, so they've got to be wearing down just a little bit. So if I'm Knightdale's coach, I'm a little bit concerned and hoping that my guys can get off the field pretty quick on this possession.
You can just look around at the Knightdale defense. I mean, guys, between plays, kind of hands on hips, they're starting to wear them down. And that's what Coach King wants, is to wear down this Knightdale defense. But you have to remember, this is a Knightdale club that's not used to being down by 10, 11, 12 points in the 3rd quarter. And before the play can begin, a whistle stops play. I think a ball escaped from the ball boy on the sideline. And now we're ready to go. From the shotgun and the pistol, work the Hornets. Handoff is faked. Forte Ferguson scrambles, looking downfield, pressure coming, and he's going to be sacked. Adrian White there to bring him down, and that'll energize this Knightdale defense.
Yeah, Adrian White's made some big plays tonight, and that time the big fella got upfield and got a push and was able to get the quarterback after someone else pushes him out of the pocket, pushes him back towards the middle of the pocket. Here you see the play action looking down the field. That's number 6. Mr. Hyman steps up and pushes him back, and White's Johnny on the spot and able to make the tackle.
Yeah, P.D. Hyman, some pressure, as you said, Joe, and now 2nd down and long for Hillside. Bobbled snap, picked up, though, by Thomas Williams, and he bulls ahead for positive yards and brings up 3rd down and long for Hillside. 3rd, about 13 coming up for the Hornets.
Yeah, and Hillside doesn't like long yardage situations as well, because they like to have the ability to run the ball. So it'll be interesting to see if they're aggressive on this play and try to get the 1st down.
2:12 to go, 3rd quarter, clock moving. Forte Ferguson wants a low snap, it would appear. He waits, gets the snap. Handoff, Dante Thomas Williams tries to hurdle Marcel Johnson, who brings him down. And that's just what the doctor ordered for Knightdale, a quick 3 and out. You feel like your offense is going to have pretty good field position after this punt.
Yeah, they flipped the field position after punting and having to punt, and the defense came out and did what they needed to do. They got off the field in 3 plays, and now Hillside's shifted the battle of field position back. All of it spearheaded by the penalty on the special teams play. So the penalties are starting to add up, and they could be costly if they're not careful.
90 seconds for the 3rd quarter. Ian Burris at his own goal line gets a high snap and just does get the kick away. Short kick, takes a Knightdale bounce and is downed inside the 40-yard line. So a short field to go for Knightdale. And the whole game doesn't hinge on this possession, Joe, but real big for Knightdale to get some points here.
It is, and starting the possession in the blue zone is good for your offense because now your whole playbook is open. Everything you want to run and could possibly run is in your playbook. And I wouldn't be surprised to see something big on first down, maybe some play action or something as the sprinkle starts to come into the stadium.
More than just sprinkles, partner. It's a heavy drizzle.
Yeah.
So we'll see how this weather might impact the offense tonight. A chance of rain was supposed to be late tonight, but has come in. It's going to be a cold front as well. I'm not a meteorologist, but just giving you an updated report. Johnson will throw for Marcel Johnson, knocked away at a flag for pass interference.
Oh my goodness, good defensive play. He must have put a hand on him, but he was the only one attacking the football. I'd have to see that one more time to be comfortable with that. But a good job.
Jalen Bethay was whistled for the pass interference, and we'll take a peek at the replay coming up in a moment, but a nice break for Knightdale. Here's the replay.
You see him running through, and he just goes up, and, I mean, he's attacking the football.
Gotta be
the head grab may have been it, but
head.
He's up in the air, so if he's underneath him, I mean, oh, come on now. Let him play football. Like, he's in the air, like, literally coming across to make the play. I guess he grabbed him a little bit, but he had no chance of ever making that catch.
Now, if you're playing and you're the wide receiver, you want that to be pass interference.
Yeah, of course. Of course, every time.
Spoken like a true offensive player.
Yes, sir.
70 seconds to go in the quarter. It's Marquavius Johnson to keep it, and he's spun down at the 20-yard line. Nice defensive play there by Keith Beasley, the outside linebacker. We told you he has a 4.98 GPA, #1 in his class.
Brains and brawn, good combination for a football player.
You know, guess what Coach King told me in our meeting? He said, we're using this, academics come first at Hillside. It's a way for these kids to get an education. Use football as a way to get an education and get a college degree. They do it right over at Hillside.
That's good.
Handoff, Marcel Johnson trying the outside and nothing doing there. He is brought down by Robert Traham, the other outside linebacker.
Yeah, you can see the team speed that both these teams have at the outside backer. Johnson, who's running the ball that time, has been doing it for Knightdale all night. And now you see the Hillside team doing a good job of attacking it as well. And just good team speed. You see Johnson, who we know can run. We've seen him run several times. But the Hillside defense is formidable. So Knightdale's going to have to be very, very careful when trying to get the edge and pick their times carefully.
3rd down and 11 for Knightdale, and a timeout called by the Knights with 4 seconds, just under 10 seconds to play here in the 3rd quarter. Not sure, they don't know why they're calling the timeout this late, Joe.
Yeah, kind of caught off guard by that.
I thought they were just going to let the clock run down.
Yeah, and just take it and go into the next quarter. So I'm not sure why you do that.
Unless the play clock was winding down. Well, Knightdale burns a timeout, 4 seconds left, and if you're Coach Cincinnati on 3rd down and 11, Joe, I mean, obviously you have to think this is 4-down territory, right?
Yeah, definitely 4-down territory, but you know, his team needs some points, so he may actually concede the field goal and put himself in range with a touchdown and a 2-point conversion maybe.
Rain continuing to fall here at the stadium, as you see the Hillside fans packed in like sardines on the visitor side.
Yeah, they're packed in. They travel strong, and you know, when you have a contingency and you have winning, you build that type of fan base. And a lot of times you'll see guys or teams who are really well at home, but they don't travel that well. But this is one of the teams that does.
I can't see you, Joe.
Yeah, I'm always hiding, man.
3rd down and 11 for Knightdale from the power pistol. 4 seconds left, 3rd quarter. Johnson flush, rolling out, fires downfield. Marcel Johnson can't make the catch. 2 flags in for pass interference as McLean makes the pick. He's going to be wrestled down at the 25-yard line, but Knightdale's going to have really good field position as there's a flag for pass interference from 2 of the officials.
Wow, they must have called face guarding, or there must have been some early contact because it looked like a pretty good play on the ball right there.
Officials are conferring, and we will most likely get an untimed down, I would think, Joe, unless this penalty just carries over to the 4th quarter.
Yeah, you'd have to take it untimed down.
Yeah,
you can't end on a defensive penalty.
And it is pass interference on Hillside. And again, really good field position for Knightdale as they try to scratch and claw their way back into this football game.
A big break for Knightdale, though. They needed that, and it was a turning of the tide where they were in a position where they could have probably got some points, and now they're going to have an opportunity to try to finish this drive when at first it didn't look like they were going to have that opportunity.
Ball's going to be inside the 15 at the 13-yard line. See the call again from Travis Cooper, referee, and here's the pass interference flag.
Yeah, it's a good call because he ran through him, but I mean, the ball is so underthrown. It's kind of that situation with the game the other night with the Panthers. But
the Patriots think that's pass interference.
The Patriots are looking at this like, well, if the high school referees can get it right, why can't we get it right?
Marquavius Johnson will keep it, needing a block. He bounces it outside, and he's tiptoes out of bounds inside the 10-yard line. And that will take us to the end of the third quarter. And we will get set to wind things down here in the third quarter and get ready for the final 12 minutes of football. We'll head down to the field to Maryland here in just a second. She's got a couple of folks lined up to interview as Knightdale trying to capitalize on the good field position, facing a second down and about 5 to go when we get back to live action. But let's head down to the field now in Maryland. Maryland, what you got?
I have two very nice students here from Knightdale High School. I'm with Ayana and Corey. They were voted Miss and Mr. Black and Gold earlier this year. They did a series of pageant competitions, including formal wear, casual wear, and spirit wear. They also had to fill out different questionnaires about why they thought they were good representatives for the school. Ayana, tell me what you put on your questionnaire.
Well, I was asked, how do I demonstrate being Miss Black and Gold worthy? And I put that I'm a positive example in the school, and I give others advice and never put anybody down and stuff like that.
And Corey, I talked with one of your teachers, Miss Cooper. She said you're a very good example to some of the younger students at the school. In fact, you're one of the mentors for the Freshman Leadership Academy. What are some of the things you do to help lead freshmen?
Some of the things I do to help lead my freshmen are show them the positive route and not the wrong route around school. Help them out if they need anything. They can just come to me and ask me, and I would give them the right way and not the wrong way how to do it.
Now, Corey, we know that when you say route, you're talking about in personality and making life decisions, but we also were told that you helped show the freshmen around the physical school grounds. I'm certainly sure that some of the students remembered that, and that's helped get you elected or voted Mr. Black and Gold. Thanks, both of you, for spending time with me. Back up to you, Chris, and the studio.
All right, Marilyn, thank you very much. Nate Harvey gets the carry up the middle and gets a couple of yards on second down. I tell you what, Joe, I like that bow tie.
Yeah, I was about to say, Mr. Corey, you're going to have to tell me where you got that bow tie and upgrade my repertoire and my arsenal of clothing.
I think you should rock a bow tie for state championship.
Yeah, I think I might. If I can learn how to tie one, I'm going to have to go get a YouTube video or something to learn how to tie one.
Third down for Knightdale as the Knights go back to work. Johnson thought about pitching it. He'll keep it and score for the Knights.
Good decision, as Johnson's able to take it all the way to the house, and now Knightdale has new life. They're right back in this thing.
16th rushing score for Quay Johnson this year, and all of a sudden, Knightdale trying to claw their way back into it. And there's some extracurricular activity going on. A flag came in, so let's wait and see what the call is all about. I think the touchdown's going to stand, though, Joe.
It is, and that's probably going to be a personal foul at the end of the play. Quay Johnson was flailing his arms, so they may call double penalties on both guys.
It's going to be on Hillside.
Wow.
And Coach King in a bit of disbelief, a contemptuous look. And Coach Cincinnati looking at the scoreboard saying, I need a couple more stops from my defense.
Yeah, his defense needs to pick it up a little bit and stop them. But, you know, we've got ourselves a ball game right now.
We thought it was going to be a ball game, partner. And they're going to enforce the penalty on the kickoff. So Knightdale, you would think, is going to have a chance to pin Hillside back pretty deep if they elect to kick it deep. We've seen them kick it short all night. We'll see what happens on the ensuing kickoff. But right now it's Betts on to try the extra point and make it a 5-point game. He does. So a brand new ball game, back to a one-possession game with Hillside getting the football up by 5.
Yeah, and, you know, Knightdale has been patient. That time they were fortunate enough to get a couple of penalties, and we kept talking about how the penalties has harmed this Hillside team tonight. Well, a couple of penalties kept that drive alive, and Knightdale was able to capitalize and get the ball in the end zone.
Finally, a lot to cheer about for the Knightdale cheerleaders. The Knightdale fans have had to sit on their hands a whole lot tonight, but Late in the fourth quarter, Knightdale trying to get some home magic, if you will, in their first ever appearance in round 2 of the state playoffs. Here's their touchdown run for Johnson.
Well, when you're going to make a run, you make a run with your best player, and their best player just now made the play. And as he was running on his own read, it looked like he was going to pitch it a little bit, and then he decided to keep it. And he tucks it up, and he goes into the end zone. And this is, I think this could have been a penalty. That could have been a penalty, but they could have called that both ways. They called it one way. They could have called that both ways as well.
Look, Johnson instigated the contact there.
Yeah, he did, and he got away with one.
You know, when you look at the scenario of this game with Knightdale kicking off in the Hillside territory and the fans into it now, for these kids, they've got to realize, Joe, they're down to their final quarter of football for some of these guys. These seniors, some of them will never play football again. It's time to bend your back and bow your neck and make a play.
Yeah, you've been kicking short all day. This might be the perfect opportunity for an onside kick. Since you've been kicking short most of the day, you're already in position where if you kick it deep, you're just wasting your time.
Well, they are going to kick it deep, and this one will knuckleball into the end zone, and Hillside will start from the 20-yard line. Final 11:43 of the football game, and for both offenses, really, Joe, you can tip your cap to the defenses, but you can also really say that maybe these offenses are sputtering a little bit here in this late in the third, early in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, they are, and you can see the Knightdale fans all jacked up and pumped up. It looked like Rey Mysterio Jr. sitting in the stands right there, getting ready to jump out and wrestle somebody. But hey, these kids are excited. They're happy about their team. They're happy about their school, and you see the pride being exemplified.
From the 20-yard line, Hillside 80 yards to go for pay dirt. With their goal here, maybe just reverse the field position and chew up some clock. Ball is fumbled, and Forte Ferguson falls on it. Disaster written all over that play, but a heads-up move from that 6'2 junior.
Yeah, they're crumbling a little bit offensively now, and it's got to become a little bit of concern to Coach King. Right now they're doing little things wrong, and that time a snap should have been handled a little bit to the right, but something that we've seen him handle, and the offense is sputtering a little bit.
A defense chant from the Knightdale fans. Dante Thomas Williams will keep it, and he's going to have pretty close to a first in on a powerful run from that 6'2 senior.
And you see why they're holding up those signs on the sideline with those check boxes on there, and why they want this kid. You know, not a lot of kids in the country can do what he just did, run through there, and look like he's going to be held up, and all of a sudden he escapes and gets positive yards. Looks like he's going to get stopped in the backfield right about there. He comes out of the pile, and then he drags some defenders, and then he turns his shoulders and he outruns a couple to the sideline, and then he runs over a couple in the process.
Toss near side. Ooh. Brannon trying to make a couple of guys miss, lowers his head to the 36, and a flag coming in.
Yeah, flag, but Thomas Williams came up and laid a booming block on the outside and allowed his man to turn the corner, although it looked like it's probably going to come back.
A late flag, though, from the official on the near side. Travis Coop, the referee, will give us the call. It is a holding penalty on Hillside, and that's really been one of the storylines of this whole ball game is penalties, Joe.
Yeah, Hillside's been shooting themselves in the foot, and they've been athletic enough to overcome it to a degree, but you can't keep overcoming it all game. But watch this block right here that I was talking about as he comes up and hits Johnson and knocks him backwards.
So that'll back the Hornets up. Coach King barking instructions, saying, hey, where was the horse collar at? Pleading for his team. That's what it's all about. Late in the year like this, working the officials, trying to get a call. Clock moving inside of 10:40 to play, fourth quarter. Split backs. Forte Ferguson to throw. Ball picked off. Intercepted by Knightdale. It's Jamie Brown for the Knights with a cavalry in front, and Brown ridden down inside the 20-yard line. And it's Knightdale on the doorstep of the lead.
Now they have an opportunity to take the lead, and this home crowd is fired up. A bad underthrow right there by the quarterback, trying to go deep to the receiver. And a lot of times, you don't know how a guy who hasn't played a lot is going to act when the pressure kicks up. And right now, it seems like we're not getting the type of play we've seen from Hillside's at the quarterback position all season. Pretty good job, pretty good protection, but a bad underthrow. He could have laid it up and gave his receiver a chance to run under it. He tried to throw the BB, and they're very fortunate that they were able to make the tackle right here. It looked like he was going to be able to get to the corner and score.
Second pick thrown by Forte Ferguson tonight. Johnson to pass, now bootleg. looking downfield, fires to the end zone, and the ball is dropped.
It's good defense. The safety came across and got a hand on it at the very last second. Good job and a good throw by the quarterback, but a better play by the safety to make the play.
Yeah, Lamont Chaney was the intended receiver as Johnson tried to thread the needle there, and here's the replay.
Yeah, it looked like Caleb McCain may have gotten out and was able to get a hand on this at the end, but at the very end of the play, he's able to jump out and get a hand on it to keep it from being called.
Hand off up the middle, and not much doing there for Nate Harvey. Gets a yard, maybe two, and now a third down situation coming up for Knightdale 2 minutes into this fourth quarter.
Yeah, Knightdale wants to get something positive now after getting that big turnover. They've got to feel like they need to get some more points and put some more points on the board. They don't want to have this possession like this to come out and be in vain.
But still a lot of football left. Johnson will swing pass out to Lamont Chaney, makes the catch, tried to make one man miss, but a nice job by KJ Covington, the outside linebacker, to come up and make the stop. Also tip your cap to Eric Young, one of their wide receiver, one of the backs, along with Tyshawn Dawson, all three converging really on the stop there, but it was Dawson and Covington, the two guys who converge on the stop.
Yeah, he's very fortunate to get it off as they had a corner blitz coming, and he gets it off, and then they come up, Hillside comes up and makes a play. They got a lot of guys flying to the football, and when you have as much team speed as they have, you better catch it and make decisions really quick.
Knightdale going to try a long field goal here. A 35-yard field goal. Will be the season long for Betts. Kick is up and no good. Missed it wide.
Yeah, he had plenty of leg though, and that's encouraging for them to see that he does have that type of range. So in that situation, they wouldn't hesitate to probably go to him again.
Yeah, he made a 23-yarder early, and you said had the leg, but kicking from so far away, had to kick it sideways, kick it so low, Joe. He just ran it a little bit long.
Yeah, it just basically overhooked it, but it had plenty of leg as he gets around it and just barely hooks a little wide right, well, wide left for him. Yeah.
But really no harm, no foul, because you kick it and miss, and now Hillside gets the ball at the 20-yard line. So
yeah.
The Hornets still backed up pretty deep.
Yeah, and it worked out well for them because they, even though they got the pick and they didn't get anything out of it, they slowed this Hillside offense down.
Hand off to Dante Thomas Williams, breaking off a big run for Hillside. First down, Hornets.
That's a grown man run right there.
But a late flag, Joe.
Yeah. Right now, the penalties are starting to add up and mount up, and so far they've been all against Hillside, but this one looks like it might be a face mask.
You know what? Whoever wins this game is going to go forward and face either a really good Scotland team or a really good New Bern team. It is going to be on Knightdale. And you'll afford to have these mistakes against either one of those teams next week.
Both of those teams will capitalize on that. And Hillside's already had some success and beat New Bern early in the year, but against a Scotland County, you got to play a perfect game, a near perfect game to beat a team of their caliber.
And a personal foul is a call against Knightdale, so now Hillside's got it from midfield as you look at the replay.
Look at the grown man run, a little stiff arm, and then he starts running through people, lowers his shoulders, protects himself well, and keep that ball high and tight.
Hillside back to work. Handoff to Thomas Williams, gaping hole. Dante Thomas Williams run down from behind by Chris Malone and Justin Blango.
Yeah, Chris Malone latched on and went for a little ride. But you can see the big fella starting to get loose, and that's that fourth quarter running, and then they take him out. You take out the 225-pound back, and you bring in the 210-pound back, and just keep going downhill, and I think that's what Hillside's going to do. They're not going to let their quarterback decide the outcome of this game. They're going to let them backs handle it.
And in a game like this, conditioning is so important.
It is, but when you've got as number of guys as they got, it doesn't really matter because at this point of the year, if you're still worried about getting in shape, you were never there anyway.
Hand off to Brannon. Couple of yards, 4 or 5, and a manageable second down for Hillside after a gain of 3 official.
Yeah, you got to think this kid here, he'll be about 215 next year when he comes back to camp, probably with a little extra muscle, looking for that Division I scholarship. So he'll be in good shape too. So these young guys, they got a nice, thorough stable of running backs.
4 minutes into the fourth quarter from the pistol. Handoff, Brannon bouncing it to the outside. Avoids what would have been a tackle for a loss and is finally brought down in the backfield for a loss of 2. Tyler Jenkins was there to make the stop, missed him the first time, came back to get him a second time.
Well, that's something he's going to have to learn as a running back too. Once you commit to the hole and go, after he broke the tackle, he should have just kept running. When he circled around, he gave the defense a chance to come around and make the play. And there's those signs we were talking about of the fans trying to lure them in. Can't blame them for trying, though.
Big third down for Hillside. Ball's at the Knightdale 34. Is it 4-down territory for the Hornets?
Oh, yeah, most definitely for them in this situation.
5-point Hillside lead. Man in motion, that's Miles Kelly, and a flag is going to back the Hornets up 5 yards.
Yeah, these little things are starting to add up, and you got to wonder why the offensive line is jumping so much, and that's just the intimidation factor from the success that the Knightdale defensive front has had by getting penetration on them most of the night.
And Knightdale, or check that, Hillside going to huddle around Antonio King as the Hornets burn their first timeout of the night. So each team has 2 timeouts left for the final 7:07 of the football game.
And it's big to come out of this possession with some points, because if you do, you put the pressure on Knightdale to score a touchdown and to get back in this thing. And even if they do, you're still in a good situation, because if you score right here, even if you just get a field goal, you're still going to probably maintain the lead.
Yeah, if you get a field goal here, it makes it an 8-point game. Knightdale's got to get that 2-point conversion to tie you. But obviously Hillside looking for a touchdown to make it a 2-score game.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is they want to get in position to score points. And, you know, the time is on their side right now, because Knightdale's not going to throw the ball really deep all around the field. They're going to come out and they're going to beat you in space. So Hillside needs points on this drive if they plan on holding on to this thing.
Is it a passing situation? I mean, it's 3rd down and 14. Is it a passing situation for Hillside?
I think they can throw the ball if they want to. You know, it depends on how much faith he has in his quarterback. His quarterback struggled a little bit today on a lot of those throws. He probably hasn't faced the secondary this fast all year. And, you know, little things like that start to add up. And so, I think you've got to trust him. If you're going to make a run, you've got to show some faith in him right now and hope that he can deliver.
Timeout is over. Big 3rd down here early in this 4th quarter. Kelly in motion to pass. It's Forte Ferguson, steps up over the middle, wide open catch made by Thompson. First down and more, and it'll be 1st and goal, Hillside from the 5.
Now, I was wondering why they hadn't run many of those crossing routes early in the day, or those little underneath routes, because they've been throwing everything deep. Now they come back and they attack underneath, and they get the easy 1st down, and you can see why everybody loves this Travion Thompson kid. He's a big athletic receiver.
But how do you let him get that wide open?
Well, it's about design and the system, and they were in a little man-to-man, and with the matchup, he ends up with a safety on him the way they were matched up, and he takes advantage of it and is able to get the 1st down.
From the pistol now. Handoff, Thomas Williams, stonewalled in the backfield by Marcel Johnson.
Marcel Johnson is grown man footballing out there, and you got to like what you see from this kid. He's fearless.
You know, he's a senior. He realizes he's down to his final 6.5 minutes of football. He didn't make a play.
Yeah, and he's playing like it, too. He's playing like he doesn't want this to be his last game at Knightdale.
He's playing like his britches are on fire, partner.
Look at him come off the edge, and he does the right thing. He doesn't come down out of control. He comes down, squares his shoulders, and gets underneath the running back. He's able to make a play on the big back.
2nd and goal for Hillside from the 10. From the pistol, Thomas Williams fumbled, and Ferguson picks it back up for the Hornets, and he is thrown for a loss again by, guess who, Marcel Johnson.
He's everywhere.
All right, now it's 3rd down and goal. You got to get to the end zone to score. If you don't convert here, do you kick the field goal?
I think you've got to in this situation, but you know, you don't really know, you never really know with this team and what they're going to do. They like to mix it up, but that time, like the quarterback was trying to keep it, and they had a little conflict of interest on who was getting and who wasn't.
Credit Chris Malone for getting his helmet in there and jarring that football loose. 3rd and goal from the 15. Do they go back to the ground here? No, they're going to the air. Ferguson fires low, and the pass is caught. But it's now at the 8-yard line, still short. A little longer than an extra point here. You feel pretty confident, I think, if you're Hillside and Ian Burris, but here's the catch.
Yeah, I thought this ball hit the ground when he threw it, but I can't tell, and it looks like, he got his hand underneath it. A good job by the official of seeing it. He got his hands underneath it and was able to corral it. And now they're going to kick the field goal.
A 36-yard field goal. This is 3 yards off of his season long of 39 against Southern. Burris kicked the game winner in overtime at New Bern, a 30-yarder in the season opener for an 8-point lead. Kick, missed it. Break for Knightdale. Looked pretty close there, Joe.
Yeah, I'm going to need to see that again. It looked pretty close to me. Everybody's looking around like, really? Even the Knightdale fans are like, it looked like he went through.
Right over that top upright.
It's tough when that extended angle, and a lot of times, you know, the official, when in doubt, they're going to say no. But 26-yard attempt, he was able to get a lot of leg into it. You know, it's just a situation where it was just a little bit, it was hooking a little bit too late, hooking a little too quick. And there you see it in the air, but that looks pretty close.
Oh, I agree. Break for the Knights. 80 yards to go. Down by 5. 5 minutes left and 2 timeouts. Split backs. This is Arquavius Johnson. Check that Camille Bloodworth shedding tackles, and he gets 10 and a first down.
Yeah, nice first down design too. They came out with a little doubles on the left side, and it makes you change the way you play defense. Now that linebacker has to split the difference. He can't be up on the edge of the line of scrimmage, and he's been running this play down from the backside all game. A little formation adjustment, and now he can't do that.
To the ground again go the Knights, and not much there. Second down coming up for Knightdale. Loss of 2. It's going to be 2nd and 12. Still a lot of time, Joe, but you can ill afford to be in these 2nd down and 11, 2nd and 12 positions if you're Knightdale late in this game.
Yeah, and then they're using a lot of time as well because of the way they run their offense. Even though it's wristband oriented, they're sitting there waiting, so time is ticking off the clock as well. You may want to pick the pace up just a little bit.
Bloodworth will try the outside, and he cannot get past a heck of a defensive play from Keith Beasley.
Yeah, good job by the Hillside defense of extending the play and stretching it out and allowing those linebackers to run their lanes. And it looked like he was going to have some room on the outside when the play started. And then you see that team speed and how they all run into good pursuit angles and are able to get up and make the stop.
3rd down and 11. Passing situation here for Knightdale.
I think you've got to throw it right here. I think you've got to design something where he has an opportunity to throw the ball between the hash and the numbers. I don't know if he needs to go outside of that, but he needs to throw the ball in that area.
Split backs, play fake. Johnson will keep it, running up the hash, now the boundary, and not a lot of running room there. He's thrown back. And now decision time for Robertson Cini from his own 35 as you look at Antonio King, the Hillside head coach.
Well, if you're going to run the ball in that situation, you got to be thinking it's 4-down territory, so you got to assume that they're going to go for it right here.
3:20 left in a 5-point game. Kind of surprised Knightdale's not calling a timeout here on the biggest 4th down of their season.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised myself about that.
4th down and 5. Knightdale looking to the sideline for the play. The Hillside fans making some noise, trying to cheer on their defense and make a big stop. Quay Johnson with one back to his left. He's going to pass all kinds of time. Well, he's got all day to throw. Now he's flushed, and he's going to try and run for it. Outside, he's got the first down, and then some out around midfield. And the fans wanting a flag, maybe for a late hit. Not going to get it, but I tell you what, credit that Knightdale offensive line there.
Yeah, they're just playing a little push mush and trying to keep him in the pocket. They actually want him to throw the ball. And then when he starts to the left, the coverage breaks down a little bit, and he's able to get to the edge and outrun the Hillside linebacker, and the safety has to come up and make a tackle to get him out of bounds.
Clock stops as he gets out of bounds as the rain falling a little more intensely now late in this football game. Marquavius Johnson to pass, looking near side. Ball is caught by Lamont Cheney. He's hit hard by big number 4, Eric Young, and Cheney is hurt. And that will be a big blow to this Knightdale offense as he is the team's leading wide receiver.
Yeah, I think he got the breath knocked out of him. He did a good job of hitting him in the abdomen right here. And a good contact and a good job of concentrating and hanging on to that football. A lot of times we see guys get hit like that and the ball will come flying in the air. He did a good job of looking it all the way in and making the catch.
First down Knightdale as they march into Hillside territory from the 41. Cheney still in the game. Just as you said, Joe had the wind knocked out of him. Handoff to 38 and Nate Harvey. Trying the outside, now cuts it back. And he's got close to a first down again. Was a half step away from breaking that one and giving Knightdale the lead.
Yeah, right now you got a sense that Knightdale's sensing some momentum, and this rain is actually probably working to their favor a little bit as a team that likes to grind it out. And the handoff inside right here, and he didn't like what he saw, so he decides to take it out and cut it back. And when you can cut it back against the grain, against fast defenses, it usually leads to pretty good success.
2nd down and 1 as Harvey got 9. 105 seconds left for the 4th quarter. Marcel Johnson has the first down as he gets to the outside. And boy, I tell you what, if he keeps it running north-south instead of going east-west, he might have a big game there.
Yeah, he got the first down, and he was looking to try to get out of bounds and maybe preserve some time. And the time is not on their side right now. And even though they've got a couple timeouts, you got to think they have to find a way to get a big play.
Nice job by KJ Covington to run him down. Clock moves as they set the chains. 95 seconds left. And Knightdale wasting a whole lot of time here. That's really been one of the storylines tonight, is how much time Knightdale's taken between plays to get everybody set. Power pistol. It's Harvey. And nothing doing. And some of the natives on this Knightdale side getting pretty restless, as Tyshawn Dawson, an all-conference player last year, made the stop, and timeout Knightdale with 1:03 left. And just one timeout left for Robertson Cine's club for the final 63 seconds, Joe.
Well, he's playing on his strengths. You know, his strength is with the running game. He's trying to exercise his strengths, and he's throwing when he has to. He's trying to manage it, but he doesn't want to give Hillside the ball back. He wants to have the ball on the very last possession, and he's looking to operate that way. You know, he has a kid who's playing quarterback who is a manager at the quarterback position. He's not a true quarterback. He's an athlete playing the quarterback position, but he's efficient. So they're just capitalizing, taking advantage of the strengths and taking what the defense gives them. And right now the defense is playing a little bit more, taking one man out of the box and preparing for the pass to make sure they don't get burnt deep. And they're capitalizing by utilizing the run, but time may not be on their side in this situation.
You can see the rain really coming down now. And as you said earlier, it might play to Knightdale's strengths.
It does, because a team that can run the ball now, you know, it gives them an extra opportunity to utilize that. And when you have a kid who like Quay Johnson, if anybody slips, he's out the gate.
Second week in a row that Hillside's faced a game that comes down to the fourth quarter. Johnson, all kinds of time to pass. Now flushed a little bit, and he's sacked. He's brought down in the backfield by Ray Scott, who was there to bring him down. Scott, a 6'3" senior, and the senior makes a huge play here. And we've got a flag. It's a personal foul on Hillside. Wow. And that'll give Knightdale an automatic first down. Here's the replay.
Okay, the quarterback has the ball, and he's looking down the field, nothing there. He gets wrapped up right around here, and he goes down. And
right there, 11 came in. It was like Beasley came in and hit him late. That's the only thing I can figure, Joe.
Oh, well.
Tough break for the Hornets as Knightdale will add the 15 yards, and Knightdale really close now. Coach King pretty upset at the call.
He's got to be upset. Yeah. I mean, you understand the call. You know, you got to protect the kid in that situation, but he wasn't all the way down when the contact was initiated, but I guess they'd already blown the whistle dead, so because they'd already blown it dead, he was expected not to bring any contact to the play. But that's a lifesaver for Knightdale, because that's a 15-yard gain on a play that should have been, you know, a third and forever.
But now it's third down and 1. Under a minute to play now. Knightdale's got that one timeout left. From the pistol, 3 wide for the Knights. It's Johnson, quarterback sneak for the first down. And then has his forward progress stopped at the 15-yard line. The clock will stop to move the chains with 37 seconds left. All right, Joe, final 37 seconds. Take us through it.
Yeah, you've got to, if you're Hillside now, you just can't give up anything big. You got to keep everything in front of you. If you're Knightdale, you got to take advantage of your opportunities on the edge and hope that you can make plays. I think Knightdale may have used their last time out now, so that changes things for them a little bit as well.
All right, so let's go inside the huddle. We'll start with Hillside's defense. You know, you've been on the field a lot if you're Hillside late in this fourth quarter. What do you, if you're the Hillside defensive staff, what are you telling your guys?
Make sure you stay with your assignments. Don't try to be a hero. Don't try to do something that you're not supposed to do. Stay within your assignments and play defense the way we've been playing all night, and you've got a chance. if you're Knightdale, you got to feel like you've been doing a pretty good job establishing a run. So you want to stay within yourself, and you're telling your guys, hey, this is what we do. You know, we're going to control the ball. We're going to be safe. We're going to execute. And every time somebody's tackled, help them up, and let's get back to the line of scrimmage really quick because we don't have any more timeouts.
Yeah. Can you afford to waste time? You hope that if you're Knightdale, you've caught a couple of plays in that last timeout. 1st and 10 from the 15. Johnson to pass. Has time. Fires to the end zone. Ball is dropped. He's lucky it wasn't picked off by Beasley. And then Lamont Cheney couldn't haul it in.
Yeah, those plays like that, you got to make that catch when you have the chance. And Beasley had a chance to be a hero right now and ice this thing and send Hillside back up, Highway 40 with a victory. And now, you've given them new life. And every time you give a team like this new life, it can come back and get you. You see the throw, steps up, and Beasley has a chance, and then it almost got through to the receiver as well. So, both guys now are probably going to be kicking themselves just a little bit.
2nd and 10 from the 15. Johnson will pass again. Has time, looking far side, now going to run. Johnson to the 10, got blockers, hurdles to the end zone, and Knightdale takes the lead.
What a play by a special player, and Johnson goes out and makes that special play. Didn't have anything down the field, so what does he do? He turns to what he knows, his legs, and he's able to get through, and that's what I'm talking about. You have a chance to ice the game, you got to ice the game. Now they're in a situation where, Knightdale has come back and put some points on the board and is taking the lead for the first time tonight.
Big-time players making big-time plays, and a 1-point lead for Knightdale. Extra point coming, and I think the Knights are going to go for 2.
Yeah, they're probably going to go for 2 simply because of getting 1 doesn't really help you in this situation if they come back and kick a field goal. So you want to be able to prevent that from happening by putting the extra insurance points on the board so that they get in field goal range within the 25 seconds. You have an insulator to insulate and take those points.
And a unsportsmanlike, or I think a penalty called on Knightdale, I believe.
Probably excessive celebration.
I think you're right. It's a delay of game penalty on Knightdale. It took too long getting out there.
Oh, okay, that's not a big deal. If it was anything else, I would take it on the kickoff because, even if they get the 2-point conversion, it doesn't matter. But I'd like to have those extra yards on the other end.
Well, let's not get too far ahead of ourselves. We'll talk about what Hillside's got to do after this 2-point play, and we'll see what Knightdale runs from the 8-yard line. They're going to run a throw to the end zone, and it's picked off. Intercepted on the 2-point try by Eric Young. So now if you're Hillside, you get in field goal range and you win the game if you can make one. How big is that missed field goal now, though, that Hillside had a minute ago?
Yeah, it is big now because even if they make that field goal, the game has changed. The dynamics of this game has changed. And it looked like it was pretty close. And this is the touchdown where he's rolling out. He's looking, extra 2-point conversion where he's rolling out and they get the pick.
Here's a touchdown.
This is the touchdown right here where, he's sitting back, he doesn't like what he sees. And all the offenses, all the plays are being run, the receivers are running to the other side, so there's nobody here. And now he's just being a special athlete. And you can see why, East Carolina is really excited about getting this kid on the field next year because he brings a lot of dynamics to the game. Having the ability to even play the quarterback position the way he's played and still be a runner and a passing threat, says a lot about how good this kid is as an athlete.
All right, let's look at Hillside now, Joe. 25 seconds left. You've got 2 timeouts as Johnson's going to run right into your living room here. Hey, and we'll watch this, right into your living room.
Yeah, a little Superman right there.
Cam Newton jealous of that play.
Yeah.
But Hillside, you would think, is going to have decent field position, assuming Knightdale's not going to kick it deep. 2 timeouts, 25 seconds, a lot of time for an offense that's been pretty good tonight.
Yeah, an explosive offense as well, and they have the ability to throw the ball deep too. So, this kickoff return is going to be paramount to see how they attack.
That's a short kickoff, and it'll be fielded by the Hornets as Raekwon McCall gets it out across the 30-yard line to the 34. So now 20 seconds left, 2 timeouts for Hillside. Where is field goal range for the Hornets, Joe?
I think they've got to get it to at least about the 20 to even have a shot at it, but I think that they're looking and thinking that they want to try to make a big play. So it'll be interesting to see if they come out and try to throw on the knee for it, or they try to play hero ball and go up top. But if you go up top against this Knightdale defense and go too deep, there's always going to be somebody there because they got plenty of people that can run.
Coach King, headset off, just looking on. Final 20 seconds of the football game. Nass, Forte, Ferguson from the shotgun. Back to pass. Fires far side. Ball is caught by Dante Thomas Williams. He gets the first down and gets out of bounds with 14 seconds left.
And that's good football right there. You get the positive yards. Now you can attack the middle of the field. You got 2 timeouts left. Attack the middle of the field and try to make something happen if you need to.
Nice play there.
Yeah, he's a do everything type back, and you can see why, you know, everybody wants a piece of this young man.
14 seconds left. Forte Ferguson to pass again. Steps up, throws deep down the field. Ball is underthrown and almost picked off. Knightdale had their man out there, but Devin Lassane couldn't haul it in, and a break for the Hornets. 7 seconds left.
Yeah, he didn't give him enough air. The receiver got behind everybody, but he just underthrew him by about 6 or 7 yards.
All right, Joe, 7 seconds. 2 plays maybe?
If you're lucky, you get 2 plays off. I think that now by going deep on that play, you basically put yourself in a situation where, you know, even if you get a catch in the middle of the field, you almost got to give yourself up and get the quick timeout.
2nd and 10. Hillside down by 1. Forte Ferguson is flush. Knightdale bringing pressure. Going to step up, heave it downfield. Got Thompson out there, incomplete with 1 second left. Clock hits 0. And the season of first will continue for Knightdale as the Knights move on to round 3.
Yeah, nice job of executing by Knightdale down the stretch. They came back in these last, and they won the 4th quarter, and that's big for them, and that's why they won this football game. They executed on defense when they had to. Hillside made too many mistakes, had too many penalties, and they came back to bite them.
All right, partner. Boy, a fun one tonight. Your final thoughts as we wrap it up this evening.
Excited for this Knightdale team, excited for this Knightdale community. This is something that they waited a long time for, and they've got a chance to experience it, enjoy it, is what I would tell them, and relish it and take it all in. It's beautiful for these kids. For Hillside, you know, they'll be back. They're a strong program with strong leadership. A lot of good things coming ahead for them. Nothing to hang their head on. They played a valiant game today.
Yeah, Maryland's on the sideline trying to, we'll wrap it up as Maryland was trying to get a player for us, but Knightdale wins it in dramatic fashion tonight, 16-15. And I tell you what, Joe, you have to be thrilled for this Knightdale program, as you said, for what they were able to do.
Yeah, it's big. I mean, it's big for this. It's big for this community. It's big for this team, and they're able to squeak out of here with a win, and they earned it. You know, they played a great football game. They held a high, potent offensive team. And like I said, the fans were a little bit restless, but I like the strategy down the stretch. They stayed within their strengths. They didn't try to be something that they weren't, and they won because of that. All
right, so for Marilyn Payne, Joe Simmons, and the entire Time Warner Cable Sports Channel family, Chris Edwards from Knightdale High School, have a happy Thanksgiving. As Knightdale will enjoy Thanksgiving, they're on to round 3 of the state playoffs with a 16-15 win tonight. So long from Knightdale High School.
What are you working on?
It's a computer terminal that hooks up to the TV.
My name is Steve Jobs. Welcome to Apple Computer.
I'm trying to build Apple, and they're taking it away from me?
Something has to change.
Raise the white flag. You're either with me or you're against me.
Jobs.
Hello?
Listen carefully. Your wife has been taken. You will be given several tasks. Fail at any, and she will die. Take her with you.
What are you doing?
I am doing whatever he asks.
Your wife's time is running out.
I'm coming for her, then I'm coming for you.
Rent Getaway now. Enjoy indie movies better with Movies on Demand.
President and Mrs. Kennedy arrived in Dallas.
Nice day for a motorcade.
Discover new independent films.
This was not supposed to happen.
Parkland.
My name is Birdie.
Oh, hey. I'm Sam.
And catch critically acclaimed performances right from home.
I don't know anything about her.
That's the beauty of getting to see her online profile. You become the man of her dreams if you wanted.
A Case of You. We invent ways to get more from the entertainment you love. Time Warner Cable. Enjoy better. The guys that brought you Shaun of the Dead and Hot Fuzz are back.
What? One night, 12 pubs.
The town's been taken over by robots full of blue stuff. What do we do? Let's finish our drinks.
The World's End.
Hello there, I'm Nick Frost. And I am Simon Pegg. With just a click of your remote, you can order our new film, The World's End, right now.
Enjoy movies better with Time Warner Cable.
You have to decide what kind of man you want to grow up to be, Clark. Whoever that man is.